Chapter 206. How is this possible? Even Spirit Supremacy who couldn't believe it. He was well aware of Spirit Supremacy whose aura. Spirit Supremacy whose aura was much stronger than others. Spirit Supremacy whose aura was even stronger than others. However, Sima Yue and Bei Gongtang did not feel anything at all. Could it be that they were spiritual venerables? Many people thought so, but they quickly dismissed this idea. How could such a young spiritual venerable be possible? How can you resist Master Hu's pressure? Could it be that the two of you have some kind of treasure on you? Shi Yueshi looked at the two of them suspiciously. I wish we had such a treasure too, don't I, Bei Gong? Sima Yue said. Bei Gongtang nodded, agreeing with Sima Yue's idea. If it wasn't for the help of the treasure, how could you possibly withstand this pressure? Shi Yueshi didn't believe it. If you practice like this, you'll be able to do it, right, Halcyon? After Sima Yue finished speaking, she glanced at Halcyon, who was standing on the rooftop without moving. Chongming understood what she meant and flew to her side. Someone from Domineering Army recognized him and exclaimed, "Ah, I remember now. He's the sacred beast that started the spirit beasts in Mountain Water City a while ago." Sacred beast. There was an uproar below. Everyone's eyes were wide open, and their jaws were about to drop to the ground. Halcyon glanced at Spirit Sovereign Hu. That gaze made his body stiffen, and he fell from the sky. Chongming's identity had reversed the entire situation, making the onlookers' jaws drop. Those who had left were filled with regret. They felt that San Gull was going to die, so they wanted to leave. However, the appearance of this sacred beast was enough to wipe out everyone in the Domineering Army. Qin Ming and the rest were scared silly. With a sacred beast, how could they still fight? If they had known earlier that the other party had a sacred beast, they would definitely have waited for Sima Yue and the rest to leave before attacking. Now that things were like this, they couldn't retreat even if they wanted to. Sima Yue smirked. I heard that Leader Qin asked Uncle Bai to hand us over. We are here now. What do you plan to do? Do you want us to bring our heads here? Without waiting for the other party to reply, she continued. Yes, you even plan to use us as an excuse to destroy the sand gulls. We can't agree to that. Yue, why are you still talking nonsense with them? They've already come all the way to our doorstep. No matter what, we'll make sure they don't return today, Bai Yunqi shouted. Sima Yue nodded and said. Chongming said that he won't attack those who are weak. It's too damaging to his dignity, so you have to deal with those who are below spiritual venerable by yourselves. Oh, that Master Hu, he's the one who injured Uncle. Chongming, don't kill him. Leave him for Uncle to avenge himself. Aya Yue, this is the first time I've felt that you're so slow. Fatty Chu couldn't suppress the fighting spirit in his body, and raised his fist as he charged towards the other party. Once he moved, the sand gulls who had been suppressing their anger also moved. They had accumulated too much anger in their hearts over the past 2 days. Today they could vent it all out, so everyone's fighting spirit was very strong. Although Sima Yue had said that Chongming wouldn't attack those who were weak, once they thought that he was a member of the Sandgulls, the small fries from the Domineering Army were scared stiff and their fighting spirit plummeted. Although the Domineering Army had about twice the number of the Sandgulls, their fighting spirit was far from the Sandgulls. They had been at a disadvantage since the beginning. Sima Yue looked at the chaotic scene below and said, I'll leave this to you guys. After speaking, she went down to join the battle. I'll also experience your strength. After Shi Yushi finished speaking, she attacked Bei Gongtang. The two of them fought further and further in the air. Bai Yunchan also attacked Spiritual Venerable Hu, leaving Spiritual Venerable Lu to guard against Chongming. Chongming sighed and said, Actually, I don't like to kill people. But who asked you to provoke her? After speaking, he closed his eyes. When he opened them again, there were only 2 pupils in his eyes. He stared straight at Spiritual Venerable Lu. His expression changed, and Spiritual Venerable Lu was immediately imprisoned. Break, Chongming said faintly, and the space that imprisoned Spiritual Venerable Lu immediately broke apart. His body also turned into a bloody mist. This scene caused the people below to be stunned. He had only stood in his original position without moving. But he had already exterminated a third-level spiritual venerable. Not even a trace of him was left. Even Sima Yue shivered when she saw this scene. If he had directly used this move on her at that time, would Qi Yan still be able to save her? The scene of spiritual venerable Lu being killed fiercely attacked everyone's hearts. The difference between the two sides' auras was once again pulled apart. The city lord of Peace City had originally said that he was going to save Shi Yuxi, but when he saw Chongming, he was so scared that he immediately retreated back to the city lord's residence. Oh my god! How did this domineering army provoke such an existence? The city lord slapped his chest and cursed. It was a good thing that he did not express his loyalty to help Shi Yuxi from the start. Otherwise he would have become a soul under this blade. Many powers had the same thoughts. It was a good thing that they did not participate in this matter. As for those powers that had a good relationship with the Sandgulls in the past, but did not extend a helping hand this time, they were endlessly regretful. With an existence like a sacred beast, how could the Sandgulls' future development be bad? Haha, I've never fought with so many people before. Fatty Chu waved his fists. One punch was enough to deal with one person. He was very satisfied. Sima Yu looked for those who were a little more powerful to battle. However, those people had been scared silly by Halcyon, and were not her match at all. Her thoughts of looking for someone to have a good battle were dashed. It was as if she had fiercely thrown a punch, but had only hit a ball of cotton. This caused her to feel extremely gloomy. This battle continued for an entire day. The few streets in front of the Sandgulls were filled with corpses. Those people who came really did not return. Shi Yuxi and Bei Gongtang's strength were comparable. In the final battle, she was unfortunately killed by Bei Gongtang. Fatty Chu looked at the corpse on the ground and shook his head, saying, "A good princess just had to participate in this matter. It's too late to regret now." Her strength is indeed not bad. If not for Bei Gong training in the mountains for so long, I'm afraid that she would not be her opponent, Wei Ziqi said. In any case, she's not a good person, Ouyang Fei said. What he did not say was that it was fine to kill her. This princess is very loved by the West Moon Kingdom's emperor. If we kill her, won't we completely offend the West Moon Kingdom's royal family? Bei Gongtang said apologetically. What's there to be afraid of? We'll deal with whatever comes our way. If the West Moon Kingdom's royal family has any brains, they should not have come to find trouble with us. Otherwise, we'll make them restless. Sima Yue shrugged. She did not take this to heart. At worst, she would just say that Chongming killed her, and they wanted revenge. Alright, go find Chongming for revenge. Chongming seemed to have sensed her thoughts and lowered his head to look at her. She did not know what he was thinking. Chapter 207. It was within everyone's expectations that the three great mercenary groups would become two great mercenary groups. After all, everyone had already heard about the domineering army and the Sandgulls a few days ago. However, no one expected the domineering mercenary group to be annihilated. This caused many people to lose their bets. Bai Yunchun and the others did not have the time to care about the opinions of the people outside, because he was currently leading the fire and water attribute members of the mercenary group to clean up the corpses in front of them. They had originally wanted to burn it all, but Fatty Chu had told them that these people had done many bad things over the years and had stolen many things, so they definitely had quite a collection. Those spatial rings and whatnot shouldn't be wasted, as they might be able to accumulate quite a bit of wealth after collecting them. At the very least, those 1,000 rings would still be worth some money. Therefore, those people could only turn over the corpses one by one and collect all the spatial rings on the corpses. Then they let the fire attribute people burn the corpses, and the water attribute people wash the streets. Peace City was destined to be sleepless tonight. Many people looked at the fiery red sky in this direction, and lamented the impermanence of the world. The domineering mercenary group was gone just like that. Many people were not used to it. If Sima Yue knew about this, she would definitely spit at them. You guys are masochists. Sima Yue, Bei Gongtang, and the others had refined many lower-grade pills for the injured people. They were already familiar with these pills and could refine a lot in one furnace. Furthermore, their refining speed was especially fast. The three of them finished refining pills for 400 to 500 people in one night. Yue, thank you. Bai Yunqi took the pills from Sima Yue and thanked her. If it weren't for you, I think we would have been doomed. But we've gotten ourselves into bigger trouble, and we might even implicate you, Sima Yue said. Are you talking about killing Shi Yueshi and the two spirit paragons? Sima Yue nodded. You don't have to worry about this. Our West Moon Kingdom's emperor is still very open-minded. The most important thing is that he knows how to judge the situation. He clearly knows that a sacred beast is involved in this matter, so he will not pursue this matter any further. Sun Ranran said. Right, unless he dares to use the entire West Moon Kingdom to fight against the sacred beast. Bai Yunqi said. But isn't that Shi Yushi favored by the royal family? Fatty Chu said. One is Shi Yushi, one is a sacred beast. Which one do you think you will choose? Wei Ziqi asked. Of course it's a sacred beast. Fatty Chu said with certainty. Therefore, His Majesty the Emperor should be the same. If he dares to touch you, we don't mind bringing Chongming back to deal with all of them. At most, I'll just make him run for his life before I escape. Sima Yue said. We're going to the capital anyway. With their abilities, it's impossible that they don't know where we are. When the time comes, I'll go with you, Bai Yunqi said without even thinking. We will go straight to Zhongwu country after we reach the imperial capital. What are you going to do there? Sima Yue disagreed. I'll go with you. If anything happens, I can go with you, Bai Yunqi said. Not good. Wei Ziqi shook his head and said, the few of us have no roots here. If we cause trouble, we can just leave. You have the Sangul army behind you. If anything happens, they will be implicated. But, relax. With Chongming around, do you still have to worry about our safety? Sima Yue said. Bai Yunqi looked at Chongming, who had been quiet the whole time, and said, that's true. No matter what, we will settle this matter thoroughly before leaving West Moon country. Bai Gongtang said. Aya, it's been a tiring day. Let's go back and rest. Sima Yue stretched lazily and said to Sun Ranran. Madam, we won't disturb you from cleaning up the mess. All right, you can go back and rest. If anything happens, I will find someone to inform you. Sun Ranran said with a smile. She was referring to if the royal family came to find trouble. Sima Yue and the rest went back to rest. They had just reached the courtyard when they saw Little Two pouncing over. Big brother, big sister, are you guys okay? Little Two pounced into Bai Gongtang's embrace and raised his head to ask. We're fine. Were you scared? Bai Gongtang patted his head. No, I've been staying in the enchantment that Little Roar set up. I know that the people outside can't hurt me, Little Two said. Before Sima Yue left, she let Little Roar set up an enchantment to surround this place. The enchantment could withstand the aftermath of the battle. Little Two stayed inside the enchantment the whole time, watching the people in the air fight intensely. He did not take a step out. He had always been very sensible. He knew that it was dangerous outside, so he did not go out. He was not like the other little kids who would run everywhere out of curiosity or fear. Little Two, rest well. In 2 days, I will help you clear your meridians for the last time. After she finished speaking, she went back to the house. Wei Ziqi and the rest were indeed very tired. They all went back to rest. Bai Gongtang patted Little Two's head and also went back. Little Two stood in the courtyard and looked at their tightly shut doors. His little face was scrunched up. He did not feel happy because he was about to be able to cultivate. At the same time, the emperor who was far away in the imperial capital received an urgent report from Peace City. The city lord of Peace City told him everything that happened the night before. After reading the news, the West Moon Emperor angrily slammed the letter on the table. Your Majesty, what's wrong? The personal bodyguard at the side rarely saw him so angry and asked. Humph? He threw the letter at the bodyguard and did not say a word. That bodyguard skimmed through the contents of the letter and raised his head in shock. Your Majesty, the Princess Shi. Not long ago, Shanshui City sent news that a sacred beast had appeared. This time, she actually provoked a sacred beast. The West Moon Emperor said. If the sacred beast is angry, it will definitely alarm the protectors. We may not even be able to defeat it. A sacred beast is an existence that is even stronger than a spirit paragon. Your Majesty, don't be anxious. Who knows, that sacred beast might not find trouble with us. The bodyguard said. I think what it says is that although the sacred beast has not been contracted, it still listens to Sima Yue. If we express goodwill to her, and give her some compensation, we may be able to resolve this crisis. We can only do this now. The West Moon Emperor shook his head helplessly. Then he thought of something and stood up from the dragon throne saying, Go to Warsaw Palace. In the Warsaw Palace, a woman who looked very similar to Shiyushi was currently feeding the fishes by the lake. When she heard the report that the West Moon Emperor had arrived, she quickly put down the bait in her hands and bowed. Greetings, Your Majesty. The West Moon Emperor looked at her, and did not speak for a long time. That gaze made Qin Emo feel uneasy. Your Majesty? She raised her head, her eyes filled with grievance. I'm here to tell you two things. The West Moon Emperor said. The first is that Shiyushi has been killed. The second is that the domineering army has been exterminated by the Sand Gulls. What? Qin Emo was so shocked by the West Moon Emperor that she could not stand steadily. The palace maids at the side quickly came forward to support her. Chapter 208. Your Majesty, our child. How could she die? Domineering army. Domineering army has been annihilated. How is this possible? Qin Emo was so frightened that she was incoherent as she grabbed the palace maid's hand. You guys from the domineering army have been rather arrogant these past few years. You guys actually dared to go behind my back for something as important as exterminating the Sand Gulls. The West Moon Emperor sneered. Your Majesty, I only feel that there are so many mercenary groups in the West Moon Kingdom, so it doesn't matter if one or two of them are missing. Moreover, they killed my younger brother, so I am merely taking revenge for my younger brother. Qin Emo explained. Revenge? Not only did you fail to take revenge, you even got yourself into trouble. The West Moon Emperor said. You'd better stay here obediently. If you do anything else, don't blame me for disregarding our relationship as husband and wife. After saying that, the West Moon Emperor left without looking back. Qin Mo's vision turned black and he fainted. Your Highness, Your Highness. The palace maid hurriedly had the palace maids by her side come over. Several of them helped Qin Emo to the pavilion at the side. After a while, Qin Emo slowly woke up. The first thing he said when he opened his eyes was, Go and find out what's going on. Unfortunately, when her palace maids received the order, they were informed that they were not allowed to leave Warsaw, and many guards were sent to surround the Warsaw Palace. She also ordered that no one outside the Warsaw Palace was allowed to reveal any information to them. However, that palace maid was quite capable. She managed to find out that Shiyushi was killed by Sima Yue and a few others. This Sima Yue, he killed my younger brother and now he killed my daughter. She and I are irreconcilable. Qin Emo smashed everything in the room, but he still couldn't vent the anger in his heart. However, because the information they received was limited, the people of the Warsaw Palace didn't know about the existence of Chongming. Thus, they made a series of wrong decisions, which made them pay a heavy price. Your Highness, I also heard that His Majesty invited a few people to attend the banquet. The palace maid said. Her Majesty's birthday banquet? Why would His Majesty invite them? Qin Emo glared at the palace maid. But this is a good opportunity. If I can't kill them outside the palace, I can do whatever I want in the palace. Nyang Nyang, what should we do? Inside the palace asked. Think of a way to contact our people and arrange for them to be near the Spirit Master Guild. Once they come to the capital, kill them without mercy, Qin Emo said. Yes, Your Highness. After speaking, the maidservant went to make the arrangements. Wait, let those spirit paragons go. I don't know what kind of experts they have protecting them, but since Spirit Paragon Hu and Spirit Paragon Lu are both dead, it's useless for those people with lower power to go, Qin Emo said. This servant understands. The palace maid bowed and retreated. Sima Yue, I'll make sure you never return. In Peace City, Sima Yue looked at the smiling city lord. No matter how she looked at him, he looked like a blooming chrysanthemum. Cough cough, may I know why the city lord is looking for us? Wei Ziqi saw Sima Yuyue's expression and knew that she had thought of something bad. In order to prevent her from saying it out loud, he opened his mouth and asked. The city lord's gaze shifted away from Chongming and took out a glittering invitation card, saying, "This is an invitation card that I, the West Moon Emperor, have sent to all of you. I would like to invite all of you to attend His Majesty's birthday banquet in 10 days. Invite us to attend the banquet? Fatty Chu looked at the city lord and said, We don't even know the West Moon Emperor, why would he invite us? Since the West Moon Emperor's invitation card had already been sent over, it would not be good for them to reject it. After all, they still needed to use the teleportation array in the capital. Wei Ziqi took the invitation card and said, We will definitely be there on time. Haha, then let's go together in a few days. The city lord said, You are not familiar with that place, so I hope I have the honor of being your tour guide. To be able to go with the city lord is our honor. Wei Ziqi said with a smile. Ha ha ha, then we will go together. The city lord said with a big laugh. The invitation card has already been sent over, so I'll go back first. I'll send the city lord out. Bai Yuan Chun made a gesture of invitation and left with the city lord. After the city lord left, Bai Yunqi pursed his lips and said, He invited you but not us. It's good that you don't go. Who knows whether or not this is a banquet at Hongmen? Sima Yue said. That's true. Bai Yunqi nodded. The capital was more dangerous than Peace City. If he went, he might really become a burden to them. All right, we've already received the invitation card. Let's go back and rest. Sima Yue stretched lazily and went back. Wei Ziqi and the others also went back to their temporary residence. Bei Gongtang did not go. After Sima Yue went back, she went to Little Tu's room. Bei Gongtang was currently teaching Little Tu some basic things. Bei Gongtang saw Sima Yue enter and asked, Did he call you over for something? Sima Yue walked over and picked up the teapot on the table, drinking from the spout. After drinking enough, she said, The West Moon Emperor wants us to attend the banquet 10 days later. The city lord has sent the invitation card. He wants us to attend the banquet? Banquet at Hongmen? Bei Gongtang frowned. I don't think so. Sima Yue said, With Chongming around, he wouldn't go so far as to invite a sacred beast to attend the banquet, right? That's true. Bei Gongtang replied. We'll leave in a few days. Before we leave, I have to unblock all of Little Tu's meridians. Sima Yue said as she patted Little Tu's head. Little Tu kept his head down and did not speak. His tears fell drop by drop, wetting the front of his clothes. Bei Gongtang saw Little Tu's tears and asked, Little Tu, what's wrong? Why are you crying? Little Tu raised his head, his little face full of tears. He looked at the two of them and said, Elder sister, are you going to abandon Little Tu? You want to unblock all of my meridians before you leave. Then you won't bring me along when you leave, right? Little Tu said sadly. Sima Yue and Bei Gongtang looked at each other. They really did plan to do so. Little Tu, what we're going to do is very dangerous. If you follow us, you'll be in danger. Sima Yue said. I know. You're going to save grandfather. Little Tu said. But I want to go with you. You don't want to stay here? Sima Yue said. If you stay here, Brother Yunqi will take care of you. You can grow up safe and sound. Little Tu shook his head with all his might, saying, I want to be with you. Elder sister, take me with you. Little Tu doesn't want to be separated from you. Little Tu, if you follow us, you might face endless pursuits in the future. Do you know that? Bei Gongtang advised. But it's different here. Here, you can have a stable environment and receive good nurturing. You might even be able to make a name for yourself in the future. Little Tu still shook his head and said firmly, I'm not afraid of a homeless life. If there are bad people who bully you, I'll help you beat them up. Elder sister, don't abandon Little Tu, all right? Chapter 209. Bei Gongtang saw that Little Tu was crying so sadly and looked at Sima Yue with some difficulty, saying, Why don't we bring him along? You're at your wits' end when you meet him. Sima Yue looked at Bei Gongtang disapprovingly, saying, We don't have the final say in this matter. We have to discuss it with them. Facing the unknown fate of the future, staying here was undoubtedly the better choice. Bei Gongtang called Wei Ziqi and the other two over, and told them about Little Tuesday. The three of them were somewhat disapproving. We don't even know what the situation is with the Sima family in the Wu Kingdom. If they are good, then that's fine. If the other party isn't easy to talk to, then wouldn't it be dangerous for him to follow us? Wei Ziqi said. I agree with Ziqi's view. Ouying Fei said. But if Little Two doesn't want to stay here, then he won't be happy staying here. Fatty Chu said. After we reach the Wu Kingdom, we can make arrangements for him first. Then we can go and save grandfather and the others. Sima Yue shook her head and said. I still don't think it's feasible. We have too many unknowns. Big sister, big brother, you don't have to worry about me. Go and do your work. I'll wait for you nearby. If you want to run, I'll run with you. Little Two said. Since he had said so, Sima Yue and the rest could not just leave him alone. The main thing was that they could all tell that Bei Gongtang was also worried about him. Alas. Sima Yue sighed and said, Little Two, if we all die, you can only become a homeless child again. No. Little Two said seriously. Why? Fatty Chu asked. Little Two looked at Fatty Chu and said, If you're all dead, I'll definitely die too. I won't become a wanderer. The few of them were shocked. Was he already planning to live and die with them? Since we've decided, let's do it this way. Sima Yue said. At most, we'll put him there when something happens. Little Two didn't know about that place, but everyone else understood that it was inside the spirit pagoda. After making the decision, no one hesitated any longer. They all left, leaving Sima Yue and Little Two behind. Sima Yue gave Little Two 2 frost pills. She used her spiritual power to catalyze one of them while she wrapped the other one in her spiritual power and left it in his body. She found that her spiritual power had increased a lot during this period of time. She planned to unblock the auxiliary meridians after unblocking the 12 meridians if Little Two could bear it. The remaining 3 meridians were the same as the previous meridians. They were completely blocked. He didn't know what that thing was, but it was so hard that it could block every meridian. Because she was more familiar with controlling Crimson Flame's flames, her progress in unblocking her meridians was much faster this time. After the remaining 3 channels were all unblocked, she dissolved the other cold ice pill and let Little Two's body cool down again. Then, she transferred the flame to his auxiliary meridians. Although the auxiliary meridians were not as blocked as the meridians, there were still many impurities. It was a good thing that these impurities were not as hard as the main meridians. There were also fewer of them, so she cleaned them all in one go. After she withdrew the flame from Little Two's body, he fainted like before. However, Sima Yue was not as tired as before. Bei Gongtang came in and saw that Sima Yue's spirit was not bad. She asked, Is it over? Sima Yue nodded and stood up saying, I've already done what I can do. I'll leave the matter of teaching him cultivation to you guys. I don't have the patience to be a teacher. Bei Gongtang rolled her eyes. If you don't have the patience, then who taught me in Ouyang Yue pills? You guys learned it yourselves. Sima Yue took out a pill and ate it, saying, When he wakes up, you can teach him how to draw spiritual energy into his body. He could feel spiritual energy before, so drawing it into his body shouldn't be too difficult. Okay. You can go and rest, Bei Gongtang said. Before Sima Yue left, she looked at Little Two again. She thought that this guy was really lucky to have met her. She was just as lucky. If her meridians had not been sealed by the poison, and were blocked by Little Two's iron-like impurities, she was afraid that she would really be a good-for-nothing for the rest of her life. And if Little Two had not met her, he would also be a good-for-nothing for the rest of his life. This was also fate. She sighed in her heart before going back to rest. Little Two only slept for a day before waking up. When he opened his eyes, he saw that the house was empty. He suddenly jumped up from the bed and ran outside barefooted, shouting frantically, Brother, sister. Bei Gongtang, who was refining pills next door, thought that something had happened to him. She was shocked and almost destroyed the ingredients in her hands. Wei Ziqi opened the door and saw the barefooted Little Tuesday. He asked, What's wrong, Little Two? Little Two saw Wei Ziqi and relaxed. He threw himself into Wei Ziqi's embrace and said, I thought you guys left Little Two behind. Wei Ziqi patted Little Two's head and smiled. Since we've already agreed to bring you along, we won't leave you behind again. Little Two nodded his head. How's your situation now? Wei Ziqi asked. Can you cultivate? I don't know either. I woke up and ran out. Little Two said embarrassedly. Wei Ziqi saw his bare feet and smiled. Then let's go to your room. I'll teach you how to cultivate. And okay. Little Two smiled happily. Bei Gongtang heard Wei Ziqi's words and relaxed. She continued to refine the pills in her hands. Little Two, who had returned to the house, immediately climbed onto the bed and sat cross-legged according to the cultivation posture. After that, Wei Ziqi began to tell him to close his eyes and meditate. He could feel the spiritual energy, and even told him what attributes the spiritual energy had and what color it was. Brother Ziqi, I can feel spiritual energy a long time ago. Little Two said. You can feel it a long time ago? Wei Ziqi said in shock. He could not even cultivate, but he could feel it? And after Brother Yue helped me clear my meridians for the first time, I can feel spiritual energy. Little Two replied. Then you can feel other types of spiritual energy? Wei Ziqi thought of the spiritual beast blood in his body. It was normal for this kind of situation to occur. Let me see. Little Two said and closed his eyes. After that he opened them and said, There's water, ice, oh there's another type that I don't know. What color is it? Wei Ziqi asked. White. Little Two said. But it's a little rare. White. Wei Ziqi had never encountered white spiritual energy before. In his mind, he recalled that Feng Zhixing had said that there was a type of attribute that was even rarer than ice, lightning and wind. That was the light attribute and the dark attribute. And the light attribute people could feel that the light was white. He never thought that other than the rare ice attribute, Little Two actually had the even rarer light attribute. This was a probability that not even 1 out of 100,000 spirit masters would have. This book came from a book hashtag. Chapter 210. In Little Two's room, Sima Yue and the other 4 were sitting at the table. They were all staring at Little Two as if they were looking at a monster. Little Two was scared by their stares and subconsciously shrunk his neck. Brother, sister, you don't look at me like that. Little Two wailed in his heart. Fatty Chu was the first to speak. Can you really sense the light element? Little Two nodded fearfully. You can also sense the water and ice elements? Sima Yue looked at him with sparkling eyes. Little Two nodded fearfully. It's only been a day and a night, and you've already absorbed spiritual energy into your body? Ouyang Fei asked. He continued to nod. Haha, as expected of the seedling we found. Amazing. Bei Gongtang said happily. Ah. Comparisons are odious. Fatty Chu cried out as he sprawled on the table. Originally, it was enough to have a Yue provoking us from time to time. Now there's another little doll. I really don't dare to think about it. When he reaches our age, how heaven-defying will he be? Heavens, why are you provoking us like this? The heavens did not hear Fatty Chu's cries, but Sima Yue slapped his head harshly and said, Your innate talent is only used to provoke others outside. Don't cry and howl like a ghost here. There's no justice in this world. You've provoked me, yet you don't even let me vent. Fatty Chu muttered softly. In any case, Little Two's talent is shocking. Water and ice, TSK. In the future, Ziqi and Fatty will be the ones teaching him cultivation. Sima Yue quickly assigned the tasks. Beigong is his sister. We can't just leave him be. Ouyang, your fighting strength is not bad. You can teach Little Tuesday. It's decided then. The 4 people who were named looked at her speechlessly and said, What about you? I'll be in charge of providing resources. And we'll nurture Little Tuesday. In the future, if anyone bullies us, Little Two can help us beat them up. Sima Yue said with a smile. Then she looked at Little Two and asked, Little Two, is that okay? All right. Little Two also smiled. No one had ever treated him so well. If anyone dared to bully his brother and sister, he would fight them to the death. Thus from then on, the god of slaughter began his path of growth. Many people saw how he killed people after he grew up, and then saw how obedient he was in front of Sima Yue and Bei Gong Tang. They directly said that they were not the same person. For the next few days, they wandered around Peace City and had some fun. When it was 2 days away from the West Moon Emperor's birthday, the city lord came to find them and said that they could leave now. They then bade farewell to Bai Yunqi and the others, and used the teleportation array to go to the imperial capital. Before leaving, Sima Yue gave Bai Yunqi a jade bottle. She did not say what it was and he did not look at it. He only cared about the sadness of parting. Sigh, I wonder if Yue and the others will return to Peace City? Bai Yunqi sighed. Sun Ranran looked at the vast sky and sighed. That should be their target. Bai Yunchun looked at the much more mature Bai Yunqi and thanked Sima Yue and the others in his heart for their influence on him. Seeing the jade bottle in Bai Yunqi's hand, he said, "Don't you want to see what he left for you?" "Right, I don't know what kind of pills he left for me. This guy, not only is his strength high, he's also an alchemist. What a blow," Bai Yunqi said as he opened the jade bottle and poured out the pills inside. 2 dazzling golden pills landed in his hand. "Father, why do I feel that these pills are a little familiar?" Bai Yunqi said as he looked at the pills. Bai Yunchun was so shocked by these 2 pills that he opened his mouth wide. After a while he stammered, Isn't this the 100 revolutions pill that was auctioned at a sky-high price last time?" Only then did Bai Yunqi remember, and carefully looked at the medicinal pill. He mumbled, "It does seem to be quite similar to that medicinal pill." Bai Yunchun patted Bai Yunqi's head and shouted, "What do you mean it looks like it? This is it, all right." "You idiot." "It really is?" Bai Yunqi rubbed his head and said, "Then doesn't that mean that Yue is that mysterious person?" Bai Yunchun nodded thoughtfully and said, "Looks like she's even more powerful than we thought." Bai Yunqi had already been shocked speechless by the news that he had just received. He lowered his head and looked at the pills in his hand. Thinking about how she had said that she hoped that they would meet again in the future, he made a decision in his heart. In the future, he would develop to a higher level. In the past, he felt that his life in the mercenary group was pretty good. When he met Sima Yue and the others, he sometimes heard them talk about the world above. However, he did not pay much attention to it. Now he felt that if he could, he also wanted to go to that world to take a look and explore it. "Let's go. Your father and I will protect you. Eat this pill," Sun Ranran said as she patted her son who was in a daze. "All right." Sima Yue and the others followed the city lord of Peace City to the imperial capital. The moment they stepped out of the teleportation array, they felt a different atmosphere. Everyone looked at them strangely. "Why are they looking at us like that?" Fatty Chu shrunk to Ouyang Fei's side. "I don't know," Ouyang Fei said honestly. "There's a strong intent that's locked onto us," Sima Yue said as she looked around. "Let's leave this place first," Bei Gong Tang said. Seeing that the few of them looked as if they were facing a great enemy, the city lord of Peace City said, "Everyone, there's no need to panic. I think that the news of you guys exterminating the domineering army has spread here. Everyone is very curious about you guys. Especially your honor. Everyone wants to see your face." Hearing the city lord say this, everyone finally relaxed and followed him out of the Spirit Master Guild. "Greetings to everyone." A beautiful girl bowed towards Sima Yue and the others at the entrance. "Who are you?" Fatty Chu's eyes widened when he saw the beauty. "This servant is the person that His Majesty specially appointed to take care of everyone's lives in the imperial capital. This servant's name is Yao Guang." Yao Guang smiled at them, extremely charming. People with weak willpower would not be able to resist her charm. "Did His Majesty know that we were coming today?" The city lord of Peace City asked Yao Guang. His Majesty did not know. However, he ordered this servant to wait here and wait for you to come so that I can bring you to the inn where you will be staying, Yao Guang replied. After that, she looked at the city lord of Peace City and said, "City lord, His Majesty said that you should go to the usual place." The smile on the city lord of Peace City's face froze. A trace of anger flashed past his eyes, but he quickly suppressed it. He cupped his hands towards Sima Yue and the others and said, "Since His Majesty has arranged a place for you to stay, then we will part ways here. We will meet again at the banquet." Sima Yue and the others originally did not have a good impression of this city lord. Now that they saw him suffer, they were secretly laughing in their hearts. However, no matter what, he was still the city lord of the second largest city. They could not show it too obviously. They cupped their hands and bid him farewell. After he left, the few of them laughed. Chapter 211. Yao Guang also did not like that city lord. He did not have any ability and was only able to become the second city lord because of Qin Mo. She waved her hands towards Sima Yue and the rest, saying, "Sirs, please." The West Moon Emperor had arranged for Sima Yue and the rest to stay in an extremely secluded courtyard. There were waterside pavilions and pavilions which were rather beautiful. Furthermore, this place was not far from the Imperial Palace and could be considered a part of the Imperial Palace. It was just that it was outside the Imperial Palace, so there were not many strong guards. This place is really not bad. Fatty Chu looked at the secluded environment and did not think that there would be such a place in the imperial capital. It is really not bad. Even Ouyang Fei praised. Yao Guang sneaked a glance at Chongming and said, "His Majesty said that you have always lived in the mountains and did not like noise, so he specially arranged for you to stay here." "Mr. Chongming, we are basking in your glory this time." Sima Yue laughed as she teased Chongming. She was not afraid that he would get angry. Chongming looked at her indifferently and did not say anything. "Miss Yao Guang, when can we meet His Majesty?" Wei Ziqi asked. "His Majesty said that it is up to you all. You can go whenever you want." Yao Guang smiled as she replied, "It is already late today. Why don't we go tomorrow?" "Chongming, what do you say?" Sima Yue said. "Up to you." Chongming threw out these 3 words and did not say anything else. Pretending to be cold, Sima Yue muttered in her heart before saying to Yao Guang, "Then we will have to trouble Miss Yao Guang to ask His Majesty on our behalf." "Sir is too polite," Yao Guang said. "This servant will definitely pass on your message to His Majesty today." She could tell that although Chongming was not their contracted beast, he listened to Sima Yue's words. That was why, even though Yue did not look strong, she was the one that they could not afford to offend. Yao Guang arranged for their accommodations and assigned a group of palace maids to serve them before leaving. Sima Yue and the others were cultivating in their own rooms. Even Little Two had entered his cultivation mode. Bei Gongtang was afraid that Little Two would be disturbed by others, so she cultivated with him. If anything happened, she could still protect him. Although this West Moon Emperor seemed to be treating them courteously, who could be sure of the real situation? In the latter half of the night, those who were cultivating stopped cultivating and looked outside. Sure enough, there are people who don't know their place. Sima Yue sneered. In fact, she had already opened the door and left. As soon as the 6 spiritual venerables arrived above the courtyard, they saw Sima Yue and the others coming out of the door. They were not surprised by their arrival. 6 spirit venerables? Sima Yue raised her eyebrows as she looked at the group and said, "This lineup is really big." "Are you Sima Yue?" A spiritual paragon looked at her and asked. Sima Yue leaned against the door and did not panic. She smiled and said, "You've already come all the way here. Do you still need to ask?" The mockery in her words caused the spiritual venerables to become angry. "Looks like it's the few of you." The spiritual paragon who asked the question earlier said, "Do you want to kill yourselves, or do you want us to send you on your way?" Other than Chongming, they felt that these people were not very strong. They did not know why Imperial Concubine Mo wanted so many spiritual venerables to move out together. As for the few who had just come out of closed-door cultivation, they naturally did not have the time to listen to the gossip outside. They did not know that 2 of their spiritual venerables' brothers had already been killed by Chongming. If they knew, even if they had to give up the yearly allowance that Imperial Concubine Mo gave them, they would not have made this trip tonight. "I'm guessing that you were sent by Qin Mo? This Imperial Concubine really thinks highly of us," Wei Ziqi said. If it was the West Moon Emperor, He could have taken action the moment they reached the capital. There was no need for him to wait until now to send people over. Furthermore, he would not only send these few people. These people were not even enough to fill the gaps between Chongming's teeth. It was obvious that the imperial concubine who did not know the situation had come to pluck the fur from the tiger's mouth. However, they could also use this matter to have a good discussion with the West Moon Emperor. With this thought in mind, Sima Yue did not immediately let Chongming take action. Instead, she asked him to stay put for now. Big brother, you should just take action. These are just a few ants, yet imperial concubine Emo actually called us over. She's really making a mountain out of a molehill. A spiritual venerable said unhappily. That's right. Rather than talking to these little dolls, it's better to go back and cultivate. Recently, I've already felt the signs of advancing. Another spiritual venerable said. Sima Yue laughed as she looked at the few people in the air and said, Your imperial concubine Emo didn't tell you that the spiritual venerables surnamed Lu and who have already died, right? What did you say? Hearing this news, the few spiritual venerables subconsciously felt that Sima Yue was making things up to stall for time. Furthermore, she didn't tell you that the domineering army has already been exterminated, right? Those two spiritual venerables were killed at that time. Sima Yue continued. How is that possible? Who dares to kill our brothers? If you're spouting nonsense, we'll immediately turn you into ashes. The few people released their auras towards them, but the few of them stood in the courtyard without moving an inch. Sima Yue took a step forward and said, How are we spouting nonsense? Because the person who killed them is right here. Who? Sima Yue pointed at Chongming and said, Your imperial concubine, Emo must have something that she didn't tell you. He's a transformed sacred beast, you know. When the few spiritual venerables heard this, they were shocked. No wonder they couldn't see through Chongming's strength. So, your imperial concubine Emo doesn't care about your lives at all. She's just sending you to your deaths. Sima Yue shook her head and said. She looked like she was regretful. Chongming cooperated and released his sacred beast aura. How can there be a sacred beast? Could it be that something really happened when we were in closed-door cultivation? If there really is a sacred beast, what are we still doing here? Let's run. People with their strength all had a common problem. They were arrogant, but at the same time, they all had another characteristic, which was that they cherished their lives. The few of them looked at each other and ran towards the back. However, they seemed to be blocked by something and couldn't run out. Since you're here, why don't you stay and talk? Sima Yue called out Thousand Resonance, Little Rock, and Yaguang. Wei Ziqi and the rest also called out their own sacred beasts. They're all sacred beasts. The few spiritual venerables saw the spirit beasts standing in the courtyard and felt their scalps go numb. There was even a sacred beast standing in the middle. Thousand Resonance, you guys play with them. Sima Yue said. Other than Thousand Resonance's power and spiritual venerables, Yaguang, Little Rock and the rest were slightly weaker and weren't a match for spiritual venerables. Hence, she let Chongming exert some pressure on those people to lower their strength. Then, she used the spiritual venerables for Little Rock and the rest to practice. The commotion here quickly spread. Those spiritual venerables didn't want to fight with them, but the situation now wasn't a matter of whether they wanted to or not. If they resisted, they would lose their lives. If they didn't resist, they would lose their lives. The West Moon Emperor, who was just about to go to bed, was shocked by the sudden fight and asked, Where's the commotion? Your Majesty, someone went to attack the sacred beast at night. The reply from outside almost caused the West Moon Emperor to fall off his bed. He treated them like gods, who would dare to attack them at night. Chapter 212. When the West Moon Emperor brought his men over, he saw Yaoguang standing outside the courtyard. She did not enter, and was only staring blankly at the battle in the sky. What are you doing here? The West Moon Emperor went up and asked. Only then did Yaoguang notice the West Moon Emperor's arrival. She hurriedly bowed and said, Your Majesty, the courtyard seems to have been enveloped by a barrier. We can't enter. The West Moon Emperor got his men to give it a try. Indeed, They were unable to open it and could only watch from the outside. In the courtyard, Sima Yue and the others knew that the West Moon Emperor had arrived. However, they did not remove the barrier. Instead, they continued to let Thousand Resonance and the others fight with the spiritual paragon. However, they had them speed up. Since the main character had already arrived, there was no need for them to delay any longer. Soon the spiritual venerables were either dead or injured. Those who were still alive were on the verge of death. Sima Yue glanced at Chongming. The latter waved his hand and removed the enchantment he had set up. When the West Moon Emperor sensed that the obstruction had disappeared, he hurriedly led his men inside. When they arrived at the courtyard, everyone saw the spiritual venerable lying on the ground. The West Moon Emperor's eyes flashed as he secretly rejoiced that he had not chosen to go against them for the sake of the royal family's reputation. Not only did these people have sacred beasts with them, even their contracted beasts were all sacred beasts. The sacred beast had not even made a move, and these spirit paragons were already lying on the ground. Even if he sent people over, he was afraid that they would also end up like this. "Are you all injured?" The West Moon Emperor asked out of concern. Wasn't this obvious? Everyone looked at the West Moon Emperor with a slightly different expression. Cough, cough. Men, go and find out who sent these people. The person behind West Moon Emperor Dynasty instructed. No need. Fatty Chu said. We already know who sent these people. Who is it? Although the West Moon Emperor had guessed who it was, he still asked. You'll have to ask your imperial concubines. Fatty Chu said. Could it be Consort Mo? The West Moon Emperor glanced at Yao Guang. She immediately retreated and went to Huasha Garden to look for Consort Mo. For us to disturb your majesty so late at night. We are truly apologetic. Wei Ziqi said faintly, but there was not the slightest hint of apologetic in his tone. The West Moon Emperor knew that they were all angry. After all, they had only just arrived at the imperial capital, yet they had already encountered such a situation. No one could be happy about it. He secretly glanced at Chongming. The latter's cold expression made him unable to tell if this sacred beast was angry or not. If he was angry, it would be hard to deal with him. Everyone, there's still some time before we can bring concubine Mo here. Why don't we wait inside? The West Moon Emperor said. Sima Yue and the others nodded. Although they could rely on Chongming, no matter what, he was still the Emperor of West Moon Kingdom. It was not a good thing to slap his face in front of so many guards. Thus, they went to the living room to wait while the guards stayed outside to keep watch. I believe that your majesty has already clearly investigated our identities. We are not people from the West Moon Kingdom. We only wanted to borrow the road to go to another kingdom. Who would have thought that we would encounter so many things along the way? Wei Ziqi said. That's right. I didn't think that domineering guild would do such a thing. They deserve to be wiped out, His Majesty said with a smile. Then the Sand Gull who helped us. The Sand Gull mercenary group is known for eliminating evil and upholding justice. Naturally, no one would blame them. His Majesty replied. With his words, the Sand Gull was considered safe. I wonder which country you all want to go to? His Majesty asked. Central Wu Kingdom. Central Wu Kingdom? That's the strongest country among our 4 great empires. His Majesty sighed and asked again. I wonder why you all want to go there? To save people. Sima Yue said. Seeing that she was not willing to say more, the West Moon Emperor did not continue to ask and changed the topic to something else. Most of the time, it was Wei Ziqi who was chatting with him. Although he was not very enthusiastic, he did not let the West Moon Emperor lose face. After a while, Qin Mo was brought over. When she came to the courtyard, she saw the West Moon Emperor's imperial guards and was shocked. She then saw the spirit paragons she had invited lying in the courtyard. 4 of them were dead, and only 2 were left. Her heart was filled with despair. Concubine Mo, please. His Majesty is waiting for you inside. Yao Guang said. Qin Mo felt as if her 2 legs were filled with lead and she could not lift them at all. Yao Guang glanced at her, and 2 guards stepped forward. Each of them held onto one of her arms and brought her into the living room. Seeing the West Moon Emperor's cold face, the guards released her, and she immediately sat on the ground. Your Majesty, Concubine Mo has been brought over. Yao Guang stood beside Qin Mo and said, Concubine Mo, how dare you? The West Moon Emperor's aura burst forth. He was actually a spirit paragon expert. Your Majesty, they were the ones who killed my younger brother first. They killed my daughter and my older brother. How can I not take revenge for this? When Qin Mo saw the spirit paragons in the courtyard, she knew that her plan had failed. So when she saw that Sima Yue and the others were unharmed, she was not surprised. She only felt hatred. Concubine Mo, right? Sima Yue stood up and squatted down in front of her, saying, Why do you always put the cart before the horse? What do you mean put the cart before the horse? Qin Mo raised her head and glared at Sima Yue. We killed your younger brother because he wanted to kill us. We exterminated the domineering army because your older brother and daughter brought people to exterminate us. Sima Yue said, If we didn't resist, were we supposed to wait for them to kill us? Concubine Mo, do you think there would be such a fool? You're just a few lowly commoners. So what if they killed you? Qin Mo still thought so. Sima Yue rubbed her chin, saying, We're just a few lowly commoners. So our lives aren't worth anything. But for someone like Chongming, your Majesty, is he also a lowly commoner? Who is Chongming? If the people with you aren't lowly commoners, then what are they? Qin Mo said without even thinking. Bang! The West Moon Emperor's aura directly pressed Qin Mo to the ground, unable to move. Sima Yue stood up and looked at Chongming, saying, Chongming, you're also a lowly commoner like us. I'm not even human. Chongming said. Disgraceful thing. The West Moon Emperor was angered half to death by Qin Mo's words. He couldn't help but stand up and kick her. Then he smiled apologetically at Chongming and Sima Yue. She's talking nonsense. How can you be lowly commoners? You're our royal family's honored guests. Sima Yue's expression was still ugly. She laughed coldly, saying, It's fine to say that we're lowly commoners. Chongming is a sacred beast. How can he be called a lowly commoner? If others knew, where would my family's Chongming put his face? When Chongming heard Sima Yue say the words my family's Chongming, his eyebrows twitched. This girl was bold. She actually dared to say such a thing. Wasn't she afraid that he would be angry? But why didn't he dislike her saying such things? Chapter 213. When the West Moon Emperor heard Sima Yue's words, he started to break out in cold sweat. If Chongming was angry, they would be in deep trouble tonight. Your Honor, please calm down. I'll deal with her immediately. After saying that, he turned around, took out a sword, and directly pierced Qin Mo's heart. Qin Mo had just sat up, and when he heard the words transcendent divine beast, he was stunned. Before he could react, he was pierced through. He raised his head and looked at the West Moon Emperor in disbelief. Your Majesty, she called out weakly. Her body slowly fell to the side and stopped moving. The corners of Sima Yue and the others' mouths twitched. This guy was really merciless when it came to killing the woman who slept with him. However, this was the only choice anyone could make. After all, the other party was too powerful. Is this all right? The West Moon Emperor turned around and asked carefully. Alas, our Chongming has said that he has never encountered such a thing since he came out. He is very unhappy. Sima Yue said. Previously there was a princess who wanted to kill us. Not to mention that we were ambushed today. We were even scolded as lowly commoners. This is a huge insult to a sacred beast. If it's possible, please allow me to compensate the royal family for your offense. In any case, Shiyushi was someone who had lived for so many years. How could she not understand Sima Yue's words? But she had no choice. She could only try her best to appease them. Otherwise, once the sacred beast made a move, the losses would not be just this. Therefore, the West Moon Emperor spent the night in Sima Yue's living room. As for what they talked about, the people outside did not know. They only knew that when the West Moon Emperor came out the next day, his expression was very ugly. This Sima Yue, her heart was too black. This was what the West Moon Emperor was thinking right now. Seeing that there were still 2 spirit venerables in the courtyard, he said, Bring them back. Take these damn people away and deal with them. When the guards were about to take action, Chongming's voice came from inside the house. Since they are here, let them stay here. With that, the 5 corpses and 2 half-dead people instantly turned into a bloody mist and disappeared. The eyes of the West Moon Emperor and the Imperial bodyguard were wide open. This was most likely not something an ordinary sacred beast could do. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. The West Moon Emperor patted his own chest. Although he had lost quite a few treasures, at least he had managed to appease the other party. If Chongming were to do this to him, he would not be able to fight back at all. Sima Yue smiled as she sent the West Moon Emperor off. When she turned around, she saw a few people looking at her with disdain. Hey, what's with your expressions? Sima Yue glared at them unhappily. Brother, you looked like a gangster robbing a house. Little Tu's words represented everyone's thoughts. Little Tu, you're wrong. Bei Gongtang patted Little Tu's head. Did I say something wrong? Little Tu looked at Bei Gongtang in confusion. Bei Gongtang paused for a while before saying, She doesn't look like a gangster. She's a gangster. Do you understand? It's still Bei Gong who understands me. Ah. Sima Yue had not finished speaking when she heard Bei Gongtang's words. Her last word was stuck in her throat. However, she had indeed extorted quite a few treasures from the West Moon Emperor. She had even gotten 2 books of black-grade spirit techniques. Very quickly, the West Moon Emperor's things were sent over. Sima Yue scanned the interspatial ring. It was indeed an empire. So many treasures were sent over so quickly. It seemed like they had a lot of resources. Not bad, not bad. Seeing the treacherous smile on Sima Yue's face, Fatty Chu hugged her shoulder and said, Yue, you clearly have so many things. Why are you still interested in the West Moon Emperor's things? Sima Yue looked at Fatty Chu disapprovingly, and said with a serious face, You're really a prodigal son. If you don't manage the household, you won't know how expensive the daily necessities are. There are so many of us and we consume so much. There will be a day when these things will be used up. We can't just sit around and eat. We have to save energy, understand? Hearing her shameless words, the corners of everyone's mouths twitched. The things in the spirit pagoda could be regenerated. Furthermore, there was a strong housekeeper who knew how to grow them. There was no way they would be used up. She kept the things in the spirit pearl and little spirit would naturally take care of it. Afterwards, she stretched her body and said, The weather today is really good. It's suitable for sleeping. After attending the West Moon Emperor's birthday banquet tomorrow, we will take the teleportation array to the West Moon Kingdom. After speaking, she returned to her room in a good mood. The West Moon Emperor's face was full of pain as he listened to the guard's report. Thinking about how he had given Sima Yue and the others so many things, his heart ached. It's a good thing that they will leave tomorrow. If they were still here, I don't know what other ideas they would have. The West Moon Emperor muttered softly, as if he was afraid that the Chongming would hear him. Men, go and check the things needed for tomorrow's banquet. Then announce the news of the sacred beast. Let those who want to attend the banquet have some brains and eyes. Don't provoke people who shouldn't be provoked. The West Moon Emperor ordered. Yes, Your Majesty. The guard went out and conveyed the West Moon Emperor's words to every power that wanted to attend the banquet. He warned them not to provoke Sima Yue and the others. If they did not respect them, they would face serious consequences. Actually, there was no need for the West Moon Emperor to send people to spread the news. The news of the sacred beast had already spread throughout the imperial capital. Only Qin Mo and the few spirit paragons who were in seclusion would foolishly go up and be killed without understanding the situation. Therefore, on the second day of the banquet, everyone who saw Sima Yue and the others were respectful. They did not want to follow in Kwang Ao's footsteps. All the banquets were more or less the same. Sima Yue and the others felt bored, so they instigated the Chongming to return to their courtyard in the afternoon. With the Chongming around, no one dared to say that they were Kwang Ao. They were even worried that they might have provoked them, and thus left early. The teleportation array to the Central Wu Kingdom would only be activated tomorrow. Therefore they all went back to cultivate. Everyone thought of the gift that they had given to the West Moon Emperor. This was all arranged by Sima Yue. Before returning to the house, Bei Gongtang asked what she had given to the West Moon Emperor. After hearing it, even she could not help but break out in cold sweat. Wei Ziqi and the others walked over and asked, "What gift did Yue give to the West Moon Emperor?" Bei Gongtang said faintly. She said that she had chosen the most valuable gift from the West Moon Emperor. The few of them immediately burst out laughing. She had taken someone's gift and sent it back. Although it was very valuable, sending it back again, wasn't this just annoying the other party? Only she could do such a wicked thing. After the banquet ended, the West Moon Emperor thought of the gift that Sima Yue and the others had given, and asked the guard to find it. He wanted to see what they would give. He had given them so many things. No matter what, the other party had to give them something. However, when he saw the things in the box, the West Moon Emperor could no longer remain calm. He hated that he could not throw everything on the ground. Furthermore, Sima Yue had even placed a note inside. On it she wrote, "We the mountain people do not have anything valuable. We could only choose the most valuable thing that we have to give to your majesty. We wish your majesty a long and boundless life." Pa. The cup in the West Moon Emperor's hand was mercilessly crushed into pieces. Chapter 214. Sima Yue was in her room. She took out the sound stone that Sima Lai had given her back then, and inserted her spirit chi into it. The lines on the stone moved and Sima Lai's voice appeared once again. The contents of the book, every word, every sentence, she already knew it by heart. But she would still take it out from time to time to listen to Sima Lai's loving and helpless voice. After meeting Bai Yunqi, they had stayed in the West Moon Kingdom for more than a month. Now there were only a little more than 3 months left before the 3-year deadline. She wondered if her grandfather and brothers had been doing well these past 3 years. "Grandpa, I'm about to save you. Wait for me." She clenched the sound stone in her hand and muttered. The next day, Sima Yue and the rest went to the Soul Master Guild early in the morning. When the people from the Soul Master Guild saw them, they quickly welcomed them in. "We are going to the Central Wu country," Wei Ziqi said to the manager who had come to receive them. "We're ready." The steward said, "Yesterday the president gave the order that the lords would be using the teleportation array today, so we haven't opened it to the public yet." Did this mean that he was going to cover them? "Where does this teleportation portal lead to?" Sima Yue asked. "In Linchuan City, the capital of Central Wu country." The steward replied. "Do you know which city the Sima family is in?" "It's in Anyang City in the east. There's a teleportation array in Linchuan City that leads there." "Not in the imperial capital?" "Yes." As they spoke, they arrived at the place where the teleportation array was placed. Because the teleportation distance was relatively far, the teleportation array was relatively large, covering almost half of the courtyard. Sima Yue looked at the teleportation portal. After confirming that there was no problem, she led them into it. The manager had more than 10 spirit masters inject spirit chi into the teleportation array at the same time. The teleportation array lit up, and the spirit masters stopped inputting spirit chi into it when all the lines were lit up. It was Sima Yue's first time seeing such a huge array being activated. However, when she thought about the range of the teleportation, she felt that it was normal. "Not again," Sima Yue complained in her heart. Then, the familiar dizziness engulfed her consciousness once again. No matter how many times she had used the teleportation array, she still couldn't get used to the dizziness. She had asked Feng Zhixing why she felt uncomfortable when everyone else was normal. At that time, Feng Zhixing's answer was that the teleportation arrays on this continent were too crude. She, who was very sensitive to space, would naturally feel uncomfortable. At that time, she had wailed in her heart. Being talented was also a sin. 2 days later, they finally arrived at Linchuan City, the imperial capital of Central Wu country. No one expected the teleportation array to take so long. If they used flying beasts, it would take at least 3 to 5 months. Moreover, Little Rock was an extremely fast flying beast. If it was an ordinary bird, it would probably take almost a year. The teleportation array between countries was rarely activated. The teleportation array between Linchuan City and West Moon Kingdom had not lit up for a long time. Seeing that the teleportation array was connected, the people from the Spirit Master Guild looked over to see who it was. When he realized that it was just a few young people, he went back to doing his own thing. Sima Yue stayed in the teleportation array for 2 days. When she came out of the teleportation array, she vomited until she fainted. Damn it, next time I'll definitely make my own teleportation array and bring it with me. Sima Yue was completely defeated by the teleportation array after she almost vomited her gallbladder. Because of her body, they did not continue on their journey. Instead, they chose to stay in an inn in Linchuan City. Sima Yue laid on the bed. She still felt that the world was spinning. I've heard of people getting carsick, seasick and airsick, but I've never seen someone like me getting sick from teleportation arrays. She reached out her hand to grab the air, then put it down weakly. Yue, we just asked around. It's not very far from here to Anyang City. Let's take a flying beast next time. Bei Gongtang was taking care of Sima Yue in the house. Seeing her like this, she said with heartache. Sima Yue looked at Bei Gongtang weakly saying, forget it. The earlier we go there, the better. It'll be better to prepare. Furthermore, if they had to spend 1 or 2 months on the journey, it would not be worth it. Then rest well. Fatty and the others are quite curious about Linchuan City. We plan to go and take a look together. After she finished speaking, she stood up and took the towel on Sima Yue's head. She took the wooden basin and left, leaving Sima Yue alone in the house. Bang dash, the sound of the door closing shocked Sima Yue so much that she closed her eyes. When she opened them again, she wailed in her heart. This group of heartless people. They left me here alone, and ran out to play by themselves. They're too disgusting. I can't take it anymore. I'm still dizzy. I need to sleep for a while. Chongming, call me when they come back. Chongming, who had been leaning on the window without making a sound, looked at the person on the bed. He then shifted his gaze to the street outside, and watched the people coming and going. This guy was usually lively and fearless. Who would have thought that he would be troubled by a teleportation array? Sima Yue slept until evening. When she woke up, she felt much better. At least the world was no longer spinning. However, she still felt a little stuffy and uncomfortable. My back hurts from sleeping so much. Chongming, why haven't they come back yet? She groped her way out of bed and realized that Chongming was nowhere to be found. She opened the door and went out. She heard the sound of teeth gritting and shouting coming from downstairs. She stood by the railing and looked down. She saw Fatty Chu being supported by a few people with a bruised nose and swollen face. Little Tu followed behind, one of his eyes looking like a panda. Hey, you guys went out for a day and ended up like this? Sima Yue laughed and said, could it be that you guys didn't go out to shop, but to rob a house? Fatty, what's with these bruises? Fatty Chu glared at Sima Yue resentfully. This guy clearly saw that he was beaten up, yet he was still gloating. Everyone went upstairs. Sima Yue looked at them with a bright smile. I told you guys to go and play by yourselves, but you guys got beaten up. She waved at Little Tu and said, Little Tu, come here. Little Tu went around Fatty Chu and the rest, and came to Sima Yue's side. Sima Yue stretched out her hand and touched his panda eye, saying, come tell Big Brother who hit you. A bad guy, Little Tu said angrily. Not only did that person have designs on Big Sister and me, he also beat Big Brother Fatty up to this extent. Oh, what happened? Sima Yue asked. When Big Sister and I were walking on the streets, we met some young master. He said that he had taken a liking to Big Sister, and wanted to catch Big Sister. Another old man said that he had taken a liking to me, and wanted to catch me. Big Brother Ouyang and Big Brother Ziqi weren't around, so Big Brother Fatty went up to fight with them. In the end he got beaten up to this extent. I didn't expect that old man to be a spirit paragon expert. If Big Brother Chongming hadn't come, we wouldn't have been able to come back today. Sima Yue crossed her arms in front of her chest and raised her eyebrows. Had he taken a liking to her beauty and little Shota? Chapter 215. No wonder she didn't see Chongming at the inn when she woke up. It turned out that he had gone to save the damsel in distress. Do you know who they are? She asked. I know. Little Tu said. The other party said that they were from the Nalan clan. I heard from the onlookers that it was some first-rate force. Nalan family? Sima Yue was surprised to hear this name again. Dongchen country's Nalan clan had quite a grudge with her. Since the Sima family was exiled there, then the Nalan family also had their own family. However, he didn't expect to meet them as soon as he arrived. Did Chongming kill them all? Sima Yue was curious. Little Tu shook his head and said, Brother Chongming said that he only saves people and doesn't casually kill people. He made those two leave. Sigh, what a pity. Sima Yue sighed. However, Big Brother Chongming did not let others know that he was a sacred beast. Little Tu added. Sima Yue patted his shoulder and said, Go and eat 2 pills to get rid of your panda eyes. You don't look cute at all. As for Fatty, you can find your own pills to eat. Little Tu, let's go in. After she finished speaking, she led Little Tu into the house and gave him 2 pills to eat. After a while, Bei Gong Tang also came over. The Nalan clan. If you're not a family, you won't enter the same house. As expected, you're all from the same clan. The way you do things is so similar. Bei Gong Tang did not have a good impression of the people from the Nalan clan. She almost ground her teeth to pieces. It's very annoying. Sima Yue felt disgusted when she heard that the other party wanted to snatch a beauty in broad daylight, and the old man's perverted hobbies. However, it's not good for us to find trouble with them now. We'll deal with them after we understand the situation here. Bei Gong Tang nodded, but the anger in her heart could not be quelled. On the morning of the second day, Sima Yue dragged Bei Gong Tang out to the streets. First, they asked about the Nalan clan. When the other party saw that they knew nothing about the Nalan clan, they looked at them as if they were barbarians. However, they still told them what they knew. As expected, the Nalan family was one of the top powers in the Yiling continent. Their base was not in the imperial capital, but in the northwest of Lin City, which was the opposite direction of the Sima family. Since they were able to join the 4 great clans, their strength was definitely not to be underestimated. However, knowing that this wasn't the Nalan clan's base, Sima Yue relaxed a little and pulled Bei Gong Tang to walk around the streets. It would be fine if she didn't meet those people, but if she did, she would reluctantly get rid of them in the name of eliminating them. Oh, isn't this the beauty from yesterday? A wretched voice was heard. Bei Gong Tang turned around to look. Indeed, it was the wretched man from yesterday. Beside him was a wretched old man. Both of them were dressed in luxurious clothes. It was obvious that they were not ordinary goods. Sima Yue glanced at them and said, Were they the ones who harassed you yesterday? Bei Gong Tang nodded. Where's the little doll from yesterday? This lord really likes him. The wretched old man looked left and right, but did not see Little Tu's shadow, so he directly asked. Sima Yue and Bei Gong Tang's hearts sank. This old man who refused to die actually had designs on Little Tu. Seeing that Sima Yue was about to explode in anger, Bei Gong Tang pulled her back and said to the 2 people from the Nalan clan, My brother is nearby. Don't follow us. After she finished speaking, she pulled Sima Yue into the crowd. Elder they. Seeing that Sima Yue and the others had left, the wretched man was a little anxious. Don't be anxious. Let me sense it for a while. The wretched old man closed his eyes and sensed for a while, saying, That brother of theirs is not nearby at all. Then should we chase after them? The wretched man said anxiously. If they did not go now, they might not be able to catch up. Don't panic. They won't be able to escape. The wretched elder said as he slowly walked in the direction that Sima Yue and Bei Gong Tang had left. Seeing this, the wretched man hurriedly followed. Bei Gong Tang pulled Sima Yue and walked out of the city. It looked as if they were running away from something. This made the 2 people behind them even more certain that there were only 2 of them. Elder, if we catch that girl, we will naturally know the whereabouts of the child molester yesterday. The wretched man said this to the wretched old man, hoping that he would help him catch Bei Gong Tang. Don't worry. I will naturally catch them. It's been a long time since I met a child molester that moved my heart. The wretched old man said. In front, Sima Yue and Bei Gongtang heard the two people's words, and their eyes were filled with killing intent. These two people actually called Little Tu a child molester, and even wanted to catch them back. They were really despicable. When the two people from the Nalan clan saw them walking out of the city, they thought to themselves, could it be that they lived outside the city? However, if they went to a desolate place, it would be convenient for them to take action. At that time, nobody would know that they were the ones who did it. When they were about 10 li away from the city, Sima Yue and Bei Gongtang stopped and turned around to look at them. Why are you following us? Bei Gongtang looked at the two of them with disgust. Hee beauty, when I saw you yesterday, I couldn't help but fall head over heels for you. I want to invite you to my residence as a guest to improve our relationship. The wretched man said shamelessly. Sima Yue stood in front and blocked Bei Gongtang, saying, Humph, where did this lunatic come from? Is my wife someone you can invite just because you want to? Hearing her say wife, the wretched man was very unhappy, saying, how can a man like you be worthy of such a beautiful girl? Today I will kill you first and set the beauty free. Pfft, aren't you just trying to snatch my wife? You still have to make it sound so dignified. Sima Yue looked coldly at the wretched man, as if she was looking at a corpse. If he wanted to kill her, she didn't even know who would be the one doing the killing. She activated the spiritual energy in her body, and the surrounding spiritual energy fluctuated. The other party immediately sensed her strength. Haha, you're only a second-level spirit grandmaster. Today I'll send you to hell. As he spoke, the wretched man also activated the spiritual energy in his body and displayed the strength of a fourth-level spirit grandmaster. Sima Yue didn't think much of him. When she was still a first-level spirit grandmaster, she was already able to kill Qin Wu. Although this man's level was about the same as Qin Wu's, compared to Qin Wu who lived on the edge of a knife, he was obviously a good-looking but useless piece of trash. Elder, don't do anything. Let me kill this person. After speaking, he attacked Sima Yue. Sima Yue snorted coldly and fought with him. It didn't take long for the victor to be decided. After a few rounds, the other party was killed. The wretched old man didn't think much of Sima Yue because she was 2 levels lower than the wretched man. But he didn't think that she would be so strong in battle. She defeated the wretched man so quickly and killed him so quickly. By the time he reacted, she had already killed the wretched man. Chapter 216. How dare you kill a member of my Nalan family? The wretched old man's eyes flashed with malice. His murderous intent surged towards Sima Yue along with his aura. He was waiting to see her being suppressed by his aura. However, Sima Yue stood where she was, completely unaffected. You're actually not afraid of high-level coercion? This surprised him, but he didn't think too much about it. He just thought that she must have some treasure that could resist the pressure. No matter what treasure you have, I will kill you today and avenge my Nalan clan. A junior of the Nalan family was killed in front of him. If this matter were to spread out, it would be a colossal joke. The only way was to kill the two of them here so that this matter would never spread. Sima Yue ignored the murderous intent in his eyes and said, Is the Nalan family that great? How come I've never heard of it? I don't think it's a good family that raised 2 scum like you. It's fine if I don't know. Arrogant brat. Let's see if you can still be so arrogant after I kill you here. As he spoke, the wretched old man circulated his spiritual chi to show his level. A first-level spiritual venerable? Sima Yue looked at the old man and sneered. You only managed to become a spiritual venerable at your age. I don't think your talent is that good. Did you burn a lot of spirit herbs to grow up? Sima Yue's words angered the vulgar old man so much that he almost vomited blood. He said, I originally wanted to give you a quick death, but now I've changed my mind. I want to slowly torture you to death. Am I someone you can torture as you please? Sima Yue looked at the wretched old man and said, You want to kill me, but I want to kill you too. You actually dared to have evil thoughts about my family's little two, and even wanted to capture him. Now you even want to kill us. It seems that we have no choice but to take your life today. Ha 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 ha. The wretched old man laughed heartily, as if he had heard a joke. Laughing, he looked at Sima Yue and said, "A mere spiritual grandmaster like you wants to kill me? Who said I was going to do it myself?" Sima Yue looked at him as if he was an idiot and said, "Thousand resonance, I'll leave this old fart to you. Just kill him." The wretched old man wanted to laugh at her for boasting shamelessly, but before he could say anything, he saw a fox appear beside Sima Yue. Divine beast. The vulgar old man's eyes narrowed as he looked at Thousand Resonance's level and said, "A 5th level spirit beast. His strength has barely reached the level of a spirit paragon. I'm about to advance to level 2. This guy can't kill me." "Is that so?" Sima Yue smiled disapprovingly and said, "Don't be so arrogant." The tail behind Thousand Resonance slowly turned from 1 to 7, and it looked like a fan behind him. 7-tailed spirit fox. This time, the wretched old man could not remain calm. This was actually a 7-tailed spirit fox, a rare spirit beast. Sima Yue looked at the change in his expression with satisfaction and said, "That's right. Thousand Resonance has the blood of the ancient 9-tailed spirit fox. His battle strength is stronger than those of the same level. He's comparable to a level 6 spirit beast. If he wants to kill you, it'll be easy." After speaking, she said to Thousand Resonance, "Hurry up. They're still waiting for us to return." "Yes, master." Thousand Resonance pounced towards the wretched old man. Sima Yue and Bei Gongtang hurriedly retreated to a distance of 1 li away from them. It was better for them to watch a battle between spirit paragons from afar. Just as Sima Yue said, Thousand Resonance had an absolute advantage over the wretched old man. Very quickly, he beat the other party to his last breath. Sima Yue and Bei Gongtang saw that the battle was over and flew over. She came to the wretched old man's side and kicked him fiercely, saying, "How was it? I said that I'll kill the 2 of you today, so I'll kill you. You want to steal my woman and brother? You better open your eyes in your next life. Not just anyone dares to touch them, do you understand?" The wretched old man did not say anything. Sima Yue squatted down and took a few interspatial rings from the wretched old man's hands, saying, "Since you're going to die anyway, take these things as a way to help us get over our shock." Puff dash. The old man, who was still hanging on to his last breath, was angered to the point of vomiting blood by Sima Yue's bandit-like actions. He died. She threw a flame at the wretched old man's body and burned his corpse. Bei Gongtang threw a flame at the wretched old man's body. Before that, she did not forget to take his interspatial ring. The 2 people who wanted to take advantage of them were killed by them just like that. Now that the 2 of them were dead, their connection to the interspatial ring was also cut off. Now it was an ownerless ring. Sima Yue and Bei Gongtang each sent their consciousness into the ring to check what was inside. Damn, this old man has so much wealth. Sima Yue could not help but cry out when she saw the treasures inside. This little one too. Bei Gongtang said. Looking at them, they must have done many bad things. But I never thought that we would benefit from it. Sima Yue's mouth was laughing so hard that it almost reached her ears. Bei Gongtang looked at Sima Yue's appearance and could not help but shake her head. This guy was actually very hooligan. Just now he had called her his wife so naturally. Wasn't this also teasing her? Now this bandit role was played by her incisively and vividly. What were hooligans and bandits? It's getting late, let's go back. Otherwise they will be worried. Bei Gongtang resisted the urge to roll her eyes, and passed the wretched man's ring to her. Okay. Sima Yue kept the rings and thanked Thousand Resonance for his hard work. She kept it in the spirit pagoda and then said to Bei Gongtang, "Let's go." When they returned to the inn, Wei Ziqi and the others were not as worried as she thought. A few of them were drinking tea in the main hall of the inn. Only little Two saw them return and waved at them with a smile. How was it? Fatty Chu bore a grudge against the people who beat him up. He originally wanted to go with them today, but Sima Yue said that he was a hindrance and let him stay in the inn. Looking at the 2 of them, you can tell that they must have succeeded. Wei Ziqi said with a smile. Sima Yue and Bei Gongtang sat down and drank the tea that Fatty Chu poured for them, saying, "We took action. Of course there was no problem. And we even handed in a lot of spoils of war. What spoils of war? Little Tu looked at Sima Yue with his eyes wide open. Sima Yue did not say anything and only glanced at Little Tuesday. He immediately understood and said, "Oh, I know, elder sister and elder brother snatched other people's interspatial rings again." "What do you mean snatched? I picked it up, okay?" Sima Yue looked at Little Tu disapprovingly, saying, "It's only snatching if it has an owner. I picked it up without an owner. Do you understand? It's only snatching if it has an owner. It's only picking up if it has no owner." Little Tu nodded his head fiercely, understanding this truth to the bone. So many years later, when he snatched other people's elixirs and faced other people's accusations, he calmly said, "It's only snatching if it has an owner. It's only picking up if it has no owner. Do you understand?" After he finished speaking, he swaggered off, angering everyone so much that they almost vomited blood. Chapter 217. Sima Yue and the others stayed in Linchuan City for another night to deal with the Nalan clan. They were preparing to go to Anyang City the next day. At this time, in an inn not far from the one they were staying at, the Nalan clan members were all pulling long faces. They were frighteningly gloomy. The elder and younger cousin were killed? The person sitting in the middle looked at the guard kneeling on the ground, his voice frighteningly cold. This person was handsome, but his malicious eyes made him look sinister and ruthless. One look and you could tell he wasn't a good person. However, the people around him all stood respectfully to the side, like stars surrounding the moon, showing his status in the Nalan clan. "Young master, the elder and the others didn't come back after they went out, so we went out to look for them. We saw the clan token 10 miles away from the city. After some investigation, we confirmed that there was a battle between spirit paragons during the day." The guard replied, "Did you find out who did it?" Nalan Jie asked. "No one saw it at the time, so we didn't find out. However, we will definitely find out by daybreak." The guard replied, "No matter who it is, if they dare to kill my Nalan clan members, we will catch them even if they run to the ends of the earth." Nalan Jie ordered. "Yes, young master." Everyone in the room replied in unison. The guard retreated, preparing to continue investigating the elder's murderer. As he left the room, Nalan Jie's voice faintly sounded, "If you can't find the culprit by daybreak, you will all go back to receive your punishment." The guard's body trembled. He was very afraid of being punished. However, he still said yes and obediently left. Inside the room, an elder sat at the same table as Nalan Jie. It was obvious that his status wasn't low. This person was Nalan Jie's master, Nalan Hong. He was also an elder of the Nalan clan. "Master, who do you think killed the 15th elder and the others?" Nalan Jie asked. Nalan Hong thought for a moment and said, "Someone who dares to kill my Nalan clan's elders. If their status isn't the same as ours, then they don't know the strength of our Nalan clan." Nalan Jie laughed coldly and said, "Who on this continent doesn't know the strength of our Nalan clan? I think the first possibility is more likely. It's possible that it was done by one of our enemies." Nalan Hong did not deny it, saying, "The possibility is not small. After all, the grand banquet was about to arrive, and the various factions were already restless. Let's wait for the results of their investigation." "Yes," Nalan Jie responded, then asked again, "Master, what do you think of this event? There are less than 2 years left until the Grand Assembly, so the number of middle-aged people should be about the same as before. However, there are quite a few rising stars among the younger generation. However, their talents cannot compare to yours. You just have to pay attention to the Sima family's Sima Yulin, the Sang family's Sang Qiongli, and the Hor family's Hua Ziyan. The others are not your match. Those few people have been known as the 4 great freaks with me all these years, but I've never fought with them before. I'm actually looking forward to this gathering." Nalan Jie sneered. This gathering is related to the ranking of the various powers. The battles between the younger generation are also an important part of it. You can't be careless. Otherwise, your father won't have a good time. Nalan Hong said. "I know," Nalan Jie said. "I won't disappoint father and the clan elders." "It's good that you know." Nailan Hong had always been very satisfied with his young master's disciple. He knew his character, so he was not very worried. However, master, will the broken blood grass that we picked be of any use to that girl? Nailan Jia thought of the purpose of coming out this time, and asked with uncertainty. With the broken blood grass, we can unlock that girl's physique. Once the sacred lotus physique awakens, her future achievements will be immeasurable. Nailan Hong said. Is the lotus physique really that good? Nailan Jia asked. Of course. Otherwise, why would we bring her back from the land of exile? Nailan Hong said. The cultivation speed of the lotus physique is many times faster than the average person. Especially after breaking through to that level, the advantage of her physique will be even more obvious. Right now, that girl is not even 25 years old, and has not reached the deadline for awakening her physique. Otherwise, it will be difficult for her to awaken it. Nailan Jia naturally knew how important it was for the clan to have someone with a physique to awaken her physique. Otherwise, they would not have come out to look for medicine to awaken her physique. Master, the level you're talking about. You don't need to know that yet. Just focus on cultivating. Nailan Hong did not reply. Yes, master. Go and rest. When they send the news back, we will go and take care of that group of people and rush back to the clan. You should also go into seclusion to prepare for the gathering. Sima Yue, 6 adults and 1 child slept very late that night, because they were counting the spoils of war today. Chongming originally did not want to participate, but he was pulled over by Sima Yue. Now she was no longer afraid of him. Sometimes, she would even put her arms around his shoulders. I never thought that these 2 fellows would have so many treasures. In Dongchen Kingdom, these treasures are almost equivalent to the treasures of a middle-class family. Either the Nailan clan's resources are extremely rich, or they have done a lot of robbing and robbing. This was the unanimous conclusion of everyone. Sima Yue distributed the items according to everyone's needs. Then she urged everyone to leave. She wanted to conserve energy for tomorrow's hardships. Thinking about how she fainted from the teleportation array, everyone laughed silently. However, they all left. On the second day, Sima Yue and the others woke up early. After bringing little Tu to eat breakfast, they walked towards the Spirit Master Guild. Linchuan City was the capital of the Central Wu Kingdom. There were a few teleportation arrays that led to the outside world. They went to the north, south, east, and west. There were many cities in the east, so there were more people going there. Even though it was so early, there was a long queue for the teleportation array in the east. Let's wait for a while. They queued at the back of the queue and watched the queue slowly move forward. Sima Yue pulled little Tu to the back. Bei Gongtang was in front of them. Wow, what a cute little brother. A few more people queued at the back. When they saw little Tu, they could not help but exclaim. Sima Yue turned around to look at the people behind her. She realized that there were 2 old people with a few young people. Looking at them, they seemed to be together. The one who spoke was a young lady. Seeing Sima Yue turn around, the lady smiled at her, saying, Is this your little brother? He's so cute. Sima Yue saw that the other party's smile was kind and smiled back, saying, Thank you for the compliment. Are you going to the east as well? Which city are you going to? The lady asked. Sima Yue saw that this lady looked to be around 17 or 18 years old. Her face had some baby fat. When she smiled, her dimples appeared. Her eyes were clear. It seemed that she was a simple person. She nodded lightly, saying, Yes. We're going to Anyang City. Really? We're going to Anyang City too. Looks like we're going the same way. The lady said, I'm called Sima Yuqing. What about you? Hearing the other party's name, Sima Yue's heart skipped a beat. She had met the Sima family before going there. Chapter 218. Hearing Sima Yuqing's words, Wei Ziqi and the others who were in front turned their heads and looked at the 2 of them. If Sima Lin wanted to protect Sima Lai, he would have to reveal the matter of the 3-year promise. Sima Yue's name was probably no longer a secret within the Sima family. If people were to know of her existence now, she wondered if it would cause problems for Hung. Sima Yue said, You can call me Shimin Yu. Sima Yuqing blinked, saying, Shiman, this surname is rare. A man came up from behind and said, Yuqing, you like children. Don't scare her. Yu Yang, I'm so cute, how could I scare a child? Sima Yuqing glared at Sima Yu Yang unhappily, saying in a bad mood, It's not like I've never seen you scare a child to tears. Sima Yu Yang said, then looked at Sima Yu Yu and asked with a smile, Judging from your accent, you're not from Anyang City, right? What are you going to Anyang City for? Let's go look for him, Sima Yue replied. This Sima Yu Yang was over 20 years old, but because the body of a cultivator aged slower than the average person, he looked to be around 20 years old. His smile was very sunny like a big boy. Oh, you're looking for. Just then a loud roar interrupted their conversation. Who are Shiman Yu and Bei Gongtang? Sima Yue and the rest looked over and saw a group of people walking towards them aggressively. They glanced at each other and guessed that the Nalan family's people had come looking for them. After coming to Central Wu country, Sima Yue changed her name to Shiman Yu. She didn't expect that in just one night, the other party would find them. However, they did not intend to admit it. Since the other party did not immediately come to their door, it meant that no one from the Nalan family saw them kill anyone. Seeing the people from the Nalan clan walking over, the people in the queue at the Spirit Master Guild all moved to the side, afraid that they would meet them. Only Yue, her friends, and the Sima family remained where they were. Heavens, it's actually the young master of the Nalan family. Nalan Jia is here. Looks like something big is going to happen today. She'll lower your voice. If they hear you, be careful of your life. Nalan Jia and Nalan Hong walked in front of the guards and stood in the courtyard, sizing up the people in the courtyard. When he saw the members of the Sima family, he subconsciously narrowed his eyes. Who is Shiman Yu and Bei Gongtang? The person who came shouted again. Sima Yue knew who they were from the discussions around them. She stepped forward and said, I am Sima Yue. You are Shiman Yu? The guard beside Nalan Jia looked at Sima Yue suspiciously. How could such a person kill an elder of the Nalan family? That's right. What's the matter? Sima Yue felt uncomfortable when she saw Nalan Jia's sinister gaze. She didn't look happy either. You killed our Nalan family's people, and you still dare to ask us what's the matter? Why aren't you committing suicide to atone for your sins? The other party was unhappy with Sima Yue's attitude and shouted, Are you an idiot? Sima Yue looked at that person with disdain. I don't even know who you are. When did you kill your Nalan family's people? You still won't admit it. Someone saw them follow you out of the city. Oh, you're talking about the two wretched men who wanted to capture my wife and brother. Sima Yue wasn't scared at all by the other party and said, What does it mean if they followed us out of the city? They wanted to capture my wife, so they might have been killed by someone after they followed us out of the city. They didn't have any grudges with others. How could they be killed by others? With our strength, we can't kill them, Sima Yue said. What are you doing outside the city? Nalan Jia asked. What else can we do? We're looking for friends. Sima Yue casually made up a story. Don't talk about looking for them. They were in the inn the whole day yesterday. Nalan Jia stared at Sima Yue. The other party didn't give her time to reply and continued to ask. You just arrived in Central Wu Kingdom and don't know anyone. Who are you looking for? Do I need to report to you who I'm looking for? Sima Yue retorted. No need. But if you can't say it, it means that you intentionally went outside the city to kill my Nalan family's people. Who said she doesn't know anyone? Yesterday, Yu and the others went out to look for us. Sima Yuqing, who had been watching the show from the side, suddenly said, Who are you? Nalan Jia turned his gaze to the Sima family and saw a man standing quietly behind the crowd saying, Sima Yulin? Sima Yulin hadn't said a word since he came in and was standing behind the Sima family. Sima Yue and the others didn't notice him. Even Nalan Jia didn't notice his presence when he came in. Sima Yue looked at Sima Yulin. This guy knew how to restrain his aura and reduce his presence. It was as if he was one with his surroundings. His ability to restrain his aura is comparable to ours. She secretly compared it to him in her heart. Sima Yulin took 2 steps forward, saying, Nalan Jia. I didn't think that I would meet you here. Nalan Jia looked at Sima Yulin with surprise. He felt the fluctuations of the latter's spirit energy and was shocked. You know them? Sima Yulin glanced at Sima Yue and said lightly, I know them. They left the city yesterday to look for you? Nalan Jia continued to ask. Little sister and the others did leave the city yesterday. Sima Yulin replied in a roundabout way. Since they are your friends, you should hand them over. On what basis? You say that they killed your family's people. Do you have proof? If you don't slander us. Yu Qing already said that they left the city to look for her. How would they have the time to kill your people? Sima Yuyang didn't like Nalan Jia and looked at him sideways. You want to protect them? Nalan Jia ignored Sima Yuyang and asked Sima Yulin. This isn't protecting them. Do you have proof that they killed your people? Sima Yulin retorted. Nalan Jia's eyes darkened. Although they knew that Sima Yue had killed his people, they didn't have proof. Why are you looking at my brother like that? Do you want to fight with him? Sima Yuyang said. It just so happens that my brother wants to fight with you too. Isn't that right, brother? Sima Yulin glanced at Sima Yuyang and didn't deny it. Then he looked at Nalan Jia with a burning gaze. He really wanted to fight with Nalan Jia. They were both called evildoers, but they had never fought with each other before. He really wanted to know who was more powerful between them. Nalan Jia wanted to fight with him as well. Just as he was about to take a step forward, a hand landed on his shoulder. Young master, we still have things to do. Let's go back first. Nalan Hong looked at the Sima family. His voice wasn't loud, but Nalan Jia couldn't resist. Count yourselves lucky. It's best that you don't leave the protection of the Sima family. Otherwise, be careful of your dog lives. After speaking, he led the Nalan family to the teleportation array towards the west. Before he left, he glared at them with murderous intent, causing everyone present to shudder with fear. Chapter 219. The Nalan clan's people left just like that? Everyone was in disbelief. In the past, they would rather kill 1,000 innocents than let one person go. Today, they had already suspected Sima Yue and the others, but they did not make a move. However, when they saw the members of the Sima family, everyone felt relieved. These two families had always been at odds with each other. Just now, it was obvious that the Sima family wanted to protect these people. Even if the Nalan family wanted to take action, it would be inconvenient. The meeting is about to start. Nalan Jia doesn't want to go up against Sima Yulin first, so he wants to reveal his strength in advance. Someone analyzed. And didn't they say that unless these people always follow the Sima family, they will always be hunted by the Nalan family? Sima Yue and the rest did not expect the other party to leave just like that. Regardless of whether it was temporary or not, she still said gratefully, "Thank you for helping us out." Sima Yulin didn't say anything and retracted his aura, causing people to unconsciously ignore him. Sima Yuyang stepped forward and held onto Sima Yu's shoulder, saying, "This is nothing. We have always been at odds with the Nalan clan. It doesn't matter if there's more or less trouble." Bei Gong Tang stepped forward and pulled Sima Yu over, escaping from Sima Yuyang's evil clutches, saying, "Thank you everyone." Wei Ziqi and the others also came up and gave their thanks. "Shiman, who in their family did you kill?" Sima Yuqing beamed as she asked. Sima Yue glanced at them and whispered, "A wretched man and a wretched elder." Wretched elder? Could it be their 15th elder? Sima Yuyang said in shock. Is it a short, ugly, fat old man who likes to molest children? Sima Yue nodded. Damn, you guys actually killed their elders. They're going to come knocking on our door. Sima Yuyang almost jumped up. His eyes widened as he looked at Sima Yu and the others. Even Sima Yulin glanced at them, but quickly shifted his gaze away. I really admire you. You killed the Nalan family's elder just like that. He wanted to steal my wife and brother, so I naturally had to fight back. However, I'm not that powerful. I had to rely on some tricks. Sima Yue said. No matter what method we use, it'll be good if we can kill him. Sima Yuqing said. That old bastard, no, he's already dead. He's a huge scourge in the central Wu kingdom. Because he has a bit of power, And because he's a member of the Nalan clan, very few people dare to touch him. I heard that he's caught over 100 male molesters. Now that he's been killed by you, it's a good thing that he's gotten rid of evil. These people were chatting happily with the younger generation of the Sima family. If they knew that these people were the ones who were going to cause trouble soon, who knew what kind of expression they would have? Weren't you guys in the east? Why have you come to the imperial capital? Wei Ziqi asked. We came out to gather herbs and conveniently came to the Spirit Beast mountain range to gain experience. Sima Yuqing replied. Picking herbs. That's right. Someone in my family was injured and hasn't recovered for a long time. Originally, a strange fruit would have been able to cure him, but someone said that he would bring it to us after 3 years. Now that the 3 years are almost up, we don't know whether or not he will come. Many uncles have said that it's impossible for that person to come. But my great-uncle has said that we have to wait. He wants us to prepare for both eventualities. Sima Yuqing had a good impression of the few of them and blabbered on about the news that they wanted. Then that person made the 3 years agreement with you. Did he not have any conditions? Wei Ziqi asked. He did. He wanted us to guarantee the lives of a great-uncle and a few older and younger brothers. However, those people have done something wrong before. To protect them, it took a lot of effort from great-uncle. If those people don't come, we'll be letting great-uncle down. Sima Yuqing said. Hearing that Sima Lai and the others were safe, Sima Yue heaved a huge sigh of relief. At least the other party had kept their promise. As they chatted, it was their turn very quickly. Because they were going to a place and the teleportation array was big enough, they let them go together. In the Spirit Master Guild of Anyang City, Sima Yue felt a little uncomfortable. Seeing her like this, the youths of the Sima family came over to ask about her. Shiman, are you okay? Sima Yue supported herself against the wall and waved to everyone. What's wrong with her? Sima Yuyang asked. She's fine. She just fainted from the teleportation array. Fatty Chu said. Fainted from the teleportation array? This was the first time they had heard of this. Where are the people you want to find? Sima Yuqing asked. We don't know yet. We have to look for them. Wei Ziqi replied. But we have to rest for 2 days before making any plans. Why don't you come to my house? Sima Yuqing invited them warmly. No need. We can just find an inn. Wei Ziqi said. We're used to staying in the mountains. If we go to your house, we'll be disturbed. All right. Then which inn do you want to go to? We have inns in our house too. Let's find a place nearby to stay. Her condition isn't very good. Take her to rest early. Goodbye. The few of them left without saying much to the Sima family. Sima Yulin watched their backs as they left and felt a little strange. However, he couldn't pinpoint what was wrong with them. Let's go. We'll go back too. Wei Ziqi and the others came outside and found an inn that looked pretty good to stay in. After that, a certain someone began to rest while the others went out to wander around. They called it scouting for information, leaving a certain someone to lie on the bed alone and draw circles. When night fell, they came back with the information they had gathered. The Sima family is worthy of being a first-rate power in the Yilin continent. This residence is almost the size of a small city. It occupies a large area of Anyang City. The people of Anyang City treat the Sima clan as if they are gods. I heard that the Sima family has a lot of experts. The younger generation is even more outstanding. However, some people say that the Sima family might be reduced to a second-rate power. The Sima family seems to be divided internally. Sima Yu looked at the few of them and her eyes were filled with resentment. You could have waited for me to find out. Aren't we considering that you're anxious to know the situation? Fatty Chu said. Then have you found out anything about grandfather and the others? Sima Yu asked. We haven't. Everyone shook their heads. We did ask a few people about the people that the Sima family brought back 3 years ago, but those people didn't say anything after hearing it. Looks like they're avoiding this and don't dare to talk about it. Sima Yu said. There are still 2 months before the 3-year agreement. During this period of time, I have to seize the time to cultivate and see if I can increase my strength. Thinking about how she was in the same city as Sima Lai and the others, Sima Yu was excited. Grandfather, brother, I'm coming. Chapter 220. After staying in the inn for a night, they changed to an inn not far from the Sima family. From the room they chose, they could directly see the mansion of the Sima family. Sima Yu's inn was on the 4th floor. She stood in front of the window and looked at the Sima family from afar. Compared to the current Sima residence, the Dongqin Kingdom's general's residence was not even as big as one of their courtyards. The tall courtyard wall stretched out. She couldn't see the end of the wall from upstairs, which showed how big it was. No wonder Bei Gongtang and the others said that it was comparable to a small city. The width of the mansion was also incomparable to that of an ordinary mansion. She estimated that the mansion was several thousand meters wide, stretching all the way to the foot of the mountain. The mountain range behind the mansion was also considered to be the territory of the family. It was said that the experts of the Sima family usually didn't live below, but cultivated in the mountains. Usually, they wouldn't come out unless something happened. I wonder where Grandpa and the rest are. Sima Yue muttered as she looked at the huge courtyard. Bei Gongtang saw that Sima Yue was staring at the Sima family in a daze and went forward to comfort her. Don't worry, your grandfather and the others will definitely be fine. Yes. In the next 2 months, Sima Yue and the rest would occasionally go out for a walk. The rest of the time, they would cultivate in their own rooms. With the spirit pagoda actively absorbing spiritual energy, and the advantage of 1 day being equivalent to 3 days, she advanced another level after 2 months and successfully became a level 3 spiritual grandmaster. She usually spent a lot of time and energy on alchemy, refining souls, and learning array formations. Otherwise, her current strength would be even more powerful. After the advancement, she felt that the power in her body had become much stronger. Her hard work in cultivating for so long had not been in vain. I've been in seclusion for so long, it's time to go out and take a look. Sima Yue got off the bed and opened the door. Not bad, you've advanced in rank again. Wei Ziqi and the others were waiting outside her room to protect her from being interrupted. Evildoer. Fatty Chu said. Didn't the rest of you advance as well? Sima Yue glanced at them. Everyone had advanced in the past few days. How long have I been in seclusion? More than a month. Right now, there are only 10 days left until the deadline of 3 years. Wei Ziqi replied. 10 days. Sima Yue murmured. He didn't expect that he had already been in Anyang City for 2 months. Time was truly endless. That's right, when we went out that day, we saw that lady from before. Fatty Chu said. Sima Yuqing? No, it's Sima Yulan. Bei Gongtang said. 3 years ago we saw her in the sect. 2 days ago, when we went out, we saw her beast carriage in front of the Sima family's gate. The guard called her Miss Yulan. Sima Yue also had an impression of this girl who was about the same age as her. Crossing the Sophia mountain range was a dangerous task. At that time, other than Sima Kai, who was a spiritual grandmaster, she was a spiritual king, and the other 3 were spiritual emperors. They were willing to take her there, but it was definitely not for her to catch people or broaden her horizons. Thinking back to when Sima Lin had listened to her, and said that she couldn't sense the exact location of the golden snake fruit, he gave up looking for it. Could it be that she could sense the location of the heavenly treasure? Since Yu has come out of seclusion, let's go find a restaurant to celebrate. Fatty Chu suggested. Sure. Wei Ziqi said. We've all advanced in rank recently. It's indeed something worth celebrating. The Drunken Moon restaurant nearby has pretty good food and wine. Let's go there to eat. Fatty Chu had already eaten at all the restaurants nearby, so he naturally knew which restaurant was better. All right, let's call Chongming along. We'll go together. Sima Yue said. Chongming left 2 days ago. He said that he would be gone for a few days. He'll definitely be back in 10 days. Wei Ziqi said. Sima Yue was stunned. She didn't think that Chongming would leave. She didn't know what he had to do. Then we'll go by ourselves, she said. Today is the day that Yu will advance in rank. We definitely have to let her bleed properly. Fatty Chu was in high spirits. All right, I'll treat you guys to a big meal today, Sima Yue said with a smile. All right, Big Brother will treat us to a big meal today, Little Two shouted happily. The few of them then left the inn. Because it was still early, they strolled leisurely towards the restaurant and strolled around the streets. When they passed by a small street, they realized that there were quite a few people walking towards it. This alley is quite lively, Sima Yue said. Of course, at the end of this street is the Xianyuan Pavilion, Fatty Chu said. Ugly person's Xianyuan Pavilion? Yes. The signboards are all the same. Fatty Chu said. It's still early and they haven't opened yet. We can go take a look after we finish eating. All right. Let's see what's the difference between these peace cities. In the afternoon, they arrived at the Drunken Moon restaurant. Although the people who cultivated here didn't have much desire for things, the Drunken Moon restaurant was still packed with people. Why are there so many people? Sima Yue asked as she looked at the restaurant full of diners. Because the food here is delicious, Fatty Chu said as he walked in. A waiter came up to him. Waiter, are there any more private rooms? Oh dear, I'm sorry, our private rooms are all full, the waiter said apologetically. There are no more private rooms? That's right, the private rooms have all been booked. There are only 1 or 2 empty tables left in the main hall, the waiter said as he pointed to the 2 tables at the side. The previous 2 times we came at night. I didn't think that there would be so many people in the afternoon. If I knew earlier, I would have walked faster, Fatty Chu said. The main hall then, Sima Yue said. Since we're already here, let's just put up with it. In any case, it's just a meal. All right. Guests this way please. The waiter waved to everyone. Since there are no more private rooms, why don't you join us? Sima Yu Yang's voice came from the door. Sima Yue and the others looked back and saw Sima Yu Yang, Sima Yu Qing and 4 or 5 other people walking in together. Big brother Yu Yang, big sister Yu Qing. Little Two saw Sima Yu Yang and smiled as he greeted them. You're here for a meal too? Sima Yue saw Little Two's appearance and felt that he was much closer to the 2 of them. It seemed like they had met a few times already. That's right. We have a few friends who came and invited them here for a meal, Sima Yu Yang said. We didn't see little brother Shiman the previous 2 times. They said that you were in closed-door cultivation. I just came out today, Sima Yue said. Since there are no more private rooms, you can join us for a meal. Brother Ziyan wouldn't mind, right? Sima Yu Yang said. Hua Ziyan held a fan in his hand saying, since they are your friends, there's naturally no problem. Sima Yue didn't want to get too close to the Sima family and wanted to decline, but Fatty Chu had already agreed on her behalf. Thank you so much, Yang. Sima Yue raised her eyebrows and directly called him by his name. When did their relationship become so good? Chapter 221. Since Fatty Chu had already agreed, Sima Yue didn't say anything else and followed them upstairs. The waiter brought them to a private room. The private room was very big and could seat at least 20 people. Sit. Sima Yu Yang gestured for everyone to sit down, then introduced them to each other. This is Hua Ziyan from the Hua clan. And this is his younger sister, Hua Zijiao. These 2 are my younger cousins, Sima Yu Zhe and Sima Yu Yi. These people were Shiman Yu, Wei Ziqi, Ouyang Fei, Fatty, Bei Gongtang, and this little doll was Tu Tuesday. Where's brother Chongming? He has something to do and will be away for a few days. Sima Yue nodded at them and replied. Hua Ziyan replied indifferently, while the others ignored her. Hua Zijiao pouted unhappily saying, Big brother Yu Yang, why did you invite just anyone? This makes the private room look small. When he said this, the atmosphere in the room suddenly became a little strange. Sima Yu didn't really want to be with them. When she heard this, she felt even more uncomfortable. She stood up and said, I think we should go outside. Thank you for your kind intentions, young Master Sima. Hey, don't. You're already here. Why are you leaving? Sima Yuqing stopped her and said. Hua Ziyan glared at Hua Zijiao, then cupped his hands toward Sima Yue and said, Little sister is used to being arrogant and willful. I hope young Master Shiman doesn't mind if she offends you. Seeing that he had already said this, Sima Yu couldn't say anything more, and sat down again. Huaziyan. Why do I feel that this name sounds so familiar? Fatty Chu said. You don't even know my brother. What a country bumpkin. Huazijiao looked at Fatty Chu with disdain. Huaziyan is the genius of the Hua clan who is as famous as Big Brother Yulin. He's one of the 4 great evildoers. Sima Yuqing said. Right, I remember now. We've heard someone mention it before. Fatty Chu said with a sudden realization, completely ignoring Huazijiao's words. Sima Yue and Sima Yuze liked Huazijiao a lot. Now that they saw that she didn't like Sima Yu and the others, they naturally didn't like them either. Sima Yue opened his mouth and asked, even the Hua clan's geniuses aren't enough. Where did you all come from? How did you get to know my brothers? His words were full of disdain, and he was sure that they came from a small place. We came from another country, Wei Ziqi said. We met Brother Yu Yang at the transportation array in Linchuan City. So that's how it is. I was wondering how you could possibly know someone from the Sima family, Huazijiao said. These few people kept saying things to annoy Sima Yu and the others. Everyone was a little angry, but on account of Sima Yuqing and Sima Yu Yang, it was not good for them to flare up. Little Tu sat between Sima Yue and Bei Gong Tang. He stretched out his hand and patted Yue's shoulder, saying, Big brother, don't be angry. You said that the dog bit you, but you can't bite the dog back. PFFF. When they heard what Little Tu said, everyone laughed. Wasn't he calling them dogs? Little brat, what do you mean? Huazijiao slammed the table and shouted at Little Tuesday. Little Tu was not afraid of her. He glanced at her and said, I didn't say anything about you. Why are you so angry? Could it be that big sister thinks you're like this? Little brat. Today I represent your parents to teach you a lesson. Sima Yue was beside Sima Yuze. He went around Sima Yue and wanted to hit Little Tu, but his hand was clawed by Sima Yue. Does my little brother need an outsider like you to teach him a lesson? After speaking, she pulled forcefully and Sima Yuze was pulled from his seat to the ground. Yuze, how can you hit Little Tu? Sima Yuqing stood up and berated. Sima Yuze crawled up from the ground and glared fiercely at Sima Yue, saying, You actually dare to hit me? You, a country bumpkin from who knows where, actually dared to hit me. Do you know what kind of people the Sima family is? Sima Yue glanced at him indifferently, then said to Sima Yu Yang, Looks like not everyone in the Sima family is like you. Let's go outside to eat. Goodbye. After speaking, without waiting for their reply, they all stood up and left. You want to leave after hitting me? Sima Yuze grabbed at them, but was caught by Ouyang Fei. Ouyang Fei used force and he cried out in pain. Ouyang Fei didn't say anything, but his eyes were filled with murderous intent. He let him go and followed them out. Enough! Sima Yu Yang saw that Sima Yuze still wanted to go out and shouted loudly, They are my friends, what are you doing? Sima Yuze held his arm unwillingly. I'll go eat with them. Sima Yuqing left the private room after speaking and saw Sima Yu Yang and the others downstairs. She walked down and sat beside their table. It was really a contrast just now. Yuze and the others are used to being domineering. Sima Yu Yang and the others didn't think that Sima Yuqing would specially come down to apologize, and their displeasure towards the Sima family lessened a little. Yuqing, why are you with that guy? Fatty Chu was straightforward and asked directly. I don't like them either. Sima Yuqing said, but the Hua family has guests, so they naturally have to receive them. Yu Yang and I were supposed to accompany them around, but those 2 guys like Huazijiao and insisted on following. You're all family, why are your characters so different? They're from third uncle's branch. That branch's people are all like this. I've always quarreled with them. Sima Yuqing complained. Sima Yue's heart suddenly jumped and asked, I've heard of Sima Kai and Sima Ke before. Which branch are they from? Third uncle and the others are third uncle's children. Sima Yuqing said. However, third uncle died 3 years ago when he came back. No wonder. No wonder their characters were so bad. Sima Yue and the others ordered the dishes. When she saw the menu, she finally understood why Fatty Chu wanted her to treat them. This meal cost over 1,000 gold coins. However, after they finished eating, Sima Yuqing insisted on footing the bill, saying that it was to apologize for what happened just now. They couldn't win against her, so they let her be. Yu, what do you want to do in the afternoon? Sima Yuqing asked after they left the Drunken Moon restaurant. We want to go to the Xianyuan Pavilion to take a look. Wei Ziqi said. I haven't been there in a long time. Let's go together. Sima Yuqing said. The few of them went to the Xianyuan Pavilion, and it was already open. The shopkeeper saw Sima Yuqing and greeted her warmly. Young Miss Yuqing, you're here. Did you get anything good recently? Sima Yuqing asked. Yes, we definitely have something that young Miss Yuqing likes. The shopkeeper said. Yu, do you want to come with me to take a look? Sima Yuqing asked. No, we want to walk around. Sima Yue said. That's good. If you see that I haven't come out, just wait for me. Okay. Chapter 222. That shop assistant took Sima Yuqing and left. Immediately, another shop assistant came up and asked, Is there anything you need help with? No need, we'll just look around ourselves. Okay, call us if you need anything. After saying that, the shop assistant politely retreated to the side. There are indeed more and better things here than in Peace City, Fatty Chu said with a smile as he looked at the dazzling array of items. See if there's anything you like, Sima Yue said. All right. Everyone went their separate ways to find what they wanted. Not long after, Sima Yuyang and the others came in as well. When they saw Fatty Chu and the others wandering around in front of the items, Sima Yuze, Huazi Jiao and the others' expressions turned ugly. Sima Yuyang nodded at Wei Ziqi and the others as he brought Huazi Yin upstairs. It seemed like he had something to buy as well. Huazi Jiao and the rest didn't go up. When they saw Sima Yue and the others, they didn't want to go up. Country bumpkins, do you have the money to buy things here? Huazi Jiao walked over and looked at them with disdain as they wandered around the cheap area. What does it have to do with you whether I have money or not? Fatty Chu sneered. Don't tell me that you, the young miss of the Hor family, are in charge of this place? I'm just reminding you. Don't choose something and then be unable to pay for it. You'll lose face for no reason. Huazi Jiao sneered, waiting to see them make a fool of themselves. At this time, Bei Gongtang waved her hand at the shop assistant, saying, Do you accept pills here? Yes. Miss, do you want to sell medicinal pills? The shop assistant asked. And this Miss Hua reminded me just now. If I don't have money, I'll embarrass myself for nothing. Let's exchange it for some money first. Bei Gongtang said. Sima Yue and the others saw Bei Gongtang's actions and knew that this young miss was angry. They were waiting to see how she would deal with Huazi Jiao. Then let's go upstairs. Please follow me, miss, said the clerk. All right. Bei Gongtang nodded, but did not leave. Don't, we haven't seen how other people sell pills, Sima Yue said. That's right. If you only have 1 or 2 pills, why would you need to make the trip? Sima Yuze agreed. Bei Gong, why don't you just stay here? We're too lazy to go upstairs. Fatty Chu said. Otherwise, people will really think that you're going through so much trouble just for 1 or 2 pills. Since your own people have already said so, why are you still going up? They were certain that Bei Gongtang and the others had come from a small place and would only have a few pills on them. Therefore, they wanted them to embarrass themselves below. Bei Gongtang glanced at the 3 of them and said to the shop assistant, Since everyone wants to take a look, let's trade here. The shop assistant had no objections and said, Miss, our first grade pills are 30 gold coins each, second grade pills are 60 gold coins each, third grade pills are 100 gold coins each, and fourth grade pills are 300 gold coins each. If it's a special pill, the price will not be limited by its grade. Bei Gongtang nodded. The price was still reasonable. It was not too much of a scam. After that, the shop assistant brought her to the counter at the side, wanting her to place the pills on it. Bei Gongtang shook her head saying, There's not enough space here. Her voice was very soft, but it caused everyone's hearts to tremble. This kind of counter was actually not enough? Didn't she only have 2 or 3 pills? The shop assistant was stunned and turned around to instruct the servant girl at the side. How could you have so many pills? Could it be that you're an alchemist? I've never heard of a country bumpkin alchemist before, Sima Yuze said. What does it have to do with you whether I am or not? Do you have nothing better to do than to meddle in the affairs of the world? Bei Gongtang retorted unceremoniously. You. Sima Yuze was so angry that he stomped his foot and pointed at Bei Gongtang, his eyes filled with hatred. What, did I say something wrong? Bei Gongtang laughed coldly. Whether or not I'm an alchemist has nothing to do with you. What are you chirping for? Sima Yuqing, Sima Yuyang and Hua Ziyin came down from above, and saw that the few of them were at daggers drawn. They asked, What's wrong? Nothing much. Young Miss Hua said that we don't have any money to spend here. Bei Gong wants to sell some pills to get some money so that young Miss Hua won't laugh at us if we really don't have any money. Sima Yu said lightly. Hua Ziyan, Sima Yuyang and the others were all shrewd people. When they heard Sima Yu's words, they roughly understood what had happened. It was definitely Hua Zijiao and Sima Yuze who had come to provoke Sima Yu and the others. At this time, a servant girl came over and came to the counter. With a wave of her hand, a table that was 1 meter long and 2 meters wide appeared. The shop assistant who received them said, Young miss, the table has already been prepared. Please take out your pills. Bei Gongtang walked over, and with a wave of her hand, thousands of pill bottles appeared on the table, shocking everyone present. Sima Yuze and the others had just said that she only had 1 or 2 pills. This was a ruthless slap to their faces, and it was the kind of slap that resounded loudly. The shop assistant was also stunned for a moment before saying, Young miss, there are so many pills. We need to count them. Okay. Bei Gongtang did not say anything as she took out a chair and sat down. The shop assistant hurriedly waved his hand and called a few people over to count the pills. Young miss, there are a total of 1,100 first-ranked pills, 800 second-ranked pills, 600 third-ranked pills and 200 fourth-ranked pills. The shop assistant kept the pills on the table and reported the total number to them. When they heard this number, everyone present sucked in a breath. Even the average disciple of a clan would not have so many pills, right? Apart from an alchemist, who else would have so many pills on them? Sima Yuyang looked at Bei Gongtang speechlessly. As a direct descendant of the Sima clan, he only had 100 pills on him. However, this person alone had so many. This alchemist was really good. Why don't you sell my pills as well? They take up space in my ring. Ouyang Fei walked over and with a wave of his hand, the table was once again filled with jade bottles. This time everyone was stunned. Even Ouyang Fei was an alchemist. They had previously said that he was poor, but now they knew that he was definitely richer than them. Although Sima Yuze and the other two were shocked by Bei Gongtang's pills, they did not care too much. She was just an alchemist. Their clan had quite a few alchemists as well. However, they did not expect that there would be 2 alchemists at once. Furthermore, they were 4th-ranked alchemists. The most important thing was that Yu and the others looked even younger than them. In the future, what level would their alchemy skills reach? The shop assistant began to count the second batch of pills. After a long while he finished counting. The number was a few hundred more than Bei Gongtang's. You're all selling things. I'll also clear out my interspatial ring. Fatty Chu stepped forward saying, Do you accept spirit tools here? The shop assistant nodded saying, We do. Alright, then I'll exchange some money to buy things. Otherwise, I won't have enough money later. After Fatty Chu finished speaking, he came to the side of the table. With a wave of his hand, over 100 spirit tools appeared on the table. Because there was not enough space, many of them were directly placed on the ground. Chapter 223. Weapon Refiner. Someone exclaimed. The customers in the shop had long been paying attention to the situation here. Ever since Bei Gongtang wanted to sell her pills, they had all gathered around. Encountering 2 4th-grade alchemists had already surprised them. And now there was even a blacksmith. Would such a team be poor? Obviously that was impossible. They were selling pills and spirit tools in front of everyone. Wasn't it just to slap Sima Yuze and the other two's faces? The entire hall was completely silent. Only the sound of the two people counting the spiritual artifacts could be heard. Little Two leaned against Bei Gongtang and said to Wei Ziqi, "Big brother Ziqi, you don't have any pills or spirit weapons to sell." When everyone heard Little Two speak, their hearts were in their throats. After hearing his words, their hearts that had just been in suspense fell back down. If another alchemist or weapon refiner came, their team would be too scary. Little Two paused for a moment before continuing. "Why don't you ask the big brother here to find a few freshly caught holy beasts for you to tame, and you can use them to exchange for some money? Otherwise you won't have money to pay for the things you buy later." Beast Tamer Master. The few of them understood Little Two's words, and looked at Wei Ziqi in shock. Little Two once again mentioned that he had no money to pay the bill. This caused everyone to laugh. This would allow Sima Yuze and the others to not appear in Anyang City for a few days. It was too embarrassing. Wei Ziqi smiled and said, "No need, I don't have anything I want to buy." His answer indirectly admitted that he was a beast tamer. Sima Yue laughed in her heart when she heard Little Two's words. She did not expect this little guy to have such a trick up his sleeve. Why hadn't she realized that he had such a black-bellied side to him before? Everyone sucked in a deep breath. 2 alchemists, 1 weapon refiner, and 1 beast tamer. This kind of lineup would be honored guests no matter where they went. Moreover, these people were so young. They looked like they were in their 20s. Were they really from the countryside? Even a first-rate power wouldn't be able to nurture so many geniuses. Sima Yuyang and Sima Yuqing were both shocked. They had always looked at the few of them indifferently, but they never thought that they would actually have skills. Hua Ziyin also looked at them a few times, but his gaze finally landed on Sima Yuyang, wanting to see what kind of skills she had. However, what disappointed him was that after Fatty Chu, Sima Yue did not sell any pills or spiritual weapons. She only said to the few of them, "While they're settling your accounts, go and bring all the items you've chosen. It's time to settle the accounts. Little Two, didn't you see a stone just now? Go and get it. We'll buy it and play with it as a toy." "All right." Little Two saw Sima Yue winking at him and understood. He immediately ran out, took a stone, placed it on the counter, and ran out again. "That's pure gold Oregon. I saw it just now. It's worth 10,000 gold coins." Someone cried out in surprise. Not long after, Little Two brought 2 more medicinal herbs over and said, "Sister, I've brought you the things you wanted earlier." With that, he ran off again. Both of the medicinal herbs were rare treasures. 1 stalk was priced at 10,000, while 2 stalks were priced at 20,000. It's almost as good as the treasure of this shop. After that, Little Two went to carry a few more items that everyone had their eyes on. When he took down the last item, he said to the shop assistant, "Brother, there's nothing else. That's all." When everyone saw these items, they sucked in a breath. These things added up to 100,000 gold coins. The shop assistant was rather calm. After calculating, he said, "The items here add up to 100,800 gold coins. Forget about the 800. You can just give me 100,000. Do you want to split it?" "No need," Sima Yue said. "Although I'm not rich, I still have this bit of money. You should have said earlier that you wanted to give it to us. You made me worry that I didn't have enough money and had to sell pills to make up for it." Bei Gongtang said unhappily, "You can give us the money from selling pills and spiritual weapons. Put these things on her head." "All right." The shop assistant nodded. He got someone to bring a box and put everything in. Sima Yue walked over and took out a crystal card and a blue card, handing it over to the shop assistant. Seeing the blue card in Sima Yue's hand, the shop assistant was shocked. He looked at Sima Yue with even more respect. He took the crystal card and the blue card with both hands and bowed slightly, saying, "You have our most precious blue card. You can get a 15% discount on the price just now. The total is 85,000. We'll go and settle the price now. Please wait a moment." After he finished speaking, he took the crystal card and the blue card and went in. The people in the hall were so shocked that they couldn't speak. After a long time, someone said, I heard that Xianyuan Pavilion has 3 kinds of cards. The green card can give a 5% discount, the red card can give a 10% discount, and the blue card can give a 15% discount. However, there aren't many blue cards. It's said that you can count them with 2 hands. If it was said that they didn't think much of Sima Yue before, everyone's opinion of her had changed now. Xianyuan Pavilion placed a lot of importance on blue cards. Even the first-ranked clans had red cards. Only a few great masters had blue cards. However, she actually had a blue card. This meant that to Xianyuan Pavilion, she was even more important than the first-ranked clans. Hua Zijiao's face was burning. She naturally understood the difference between a blue card and a red card, because a red card was lying in her ring at this moment. Thinking about how she had just said that country bumpkins had no money, their actions were like a slap to her face. Hua Ziyan looked at Sima Yue. He didn't know what kind of status she had to be able to get such a precious blue card. Those who had blue cards were not only important guests of Xianyuan Pavilion, they were also important guests of the large clans. Very quickly, the shop assistant took out a blue card and a crystal card. He handed it to Sima Yue with both hands, saying, It's already been settled. After Sima Yue took the card, he took out 3 cards and said, This is the money for the 3 of you to sell your pills and spirit tools. Sima Yue took it all, and turned around to hand it to the 3 of them. Then, she nodded to Sima Yang and the others before turning around to leave. Esteemed guests, please wait. The shop assistant called out. Is there anything else? Sima Yue asked. The shop assistant took out an invitation card and said, In half a month, Xianyuan Pavilion will be holding an auction. We would like to invite our esteemed guests to participate. In half a month. Sima Yue took the invitation card and said, If I am still here at that time, I will come and participate. After speaking, she left with the others and did not stay any longer. Throwing away 1,000 gold is not enough to describe it. Everyone sighed as they watched their backs. Throwing away 100,000 gold at once. Apart from those large clans, only people like them can be so bold. Those alchemists and weapon refiners seem to be faintly centered around that person. I think she must be even more capable. Of course. Otherwise, how could he have gotten the blue card? What if he picked it up? Everyone finally thought of this question and turned to look at the shop assistant. The shop assistant shook his head, saying, When we give out the blue card, it will be tainted with that person's aura. It will be easier for us to identify it. That card just now was really his. Truly, too monstrous. Chapter 224. After Sima Yue and the others left the Xianyuan Pavilion, they looked at each other and then burst into laughter. We haven't slapped anyone's face like this before. That feeling was just too great. Fatty Chu said with a big laugh. Little Tu hugged the stone that Sima Yue had bought for him. He loved it so much that he couldn't put it down. He narrowed his eyes and said, Who asked those people to be so annoying? They kept calling us country bumpkins. It's like they're asking for a slap in the face. Wei Ziqi stretched out his hand and patted Little Tu's head, saying, I didn't think that you would have a black-bellied side to you. What black-bellied? I'm smart. Little Tu was dissatisfied. Although he didn't know what this black-bellied meant, he could tell from these 2 words that it wasn't anything good. The Sima family treated you like this. I wonder how they will react when you calling you 10 days later. Ouyang Fei said while rubbing his chin. It will definitely be very exciting. Fatty Chu chuckled. Since all of you have announced your identities to the world together, I'm sure you'll attract the attention of the major powers. Have you thought about which force you want to join? Sima Yue asked. I'm not going. Fatty Chu immediately denied it, saying, We're following you now, we have a better future than those powers. That's right. Our goal isn't here, but the primordial lands. We won't stay here forever. Wei Ziqi also said. But I might be hunted down in 10 days. Are you sure you don't want to consider it? Sima Yue did not want the people around her to be in danger. No need. If we're really being hunted down, we'll just treat it as training, Fatty Chu said. All right then. Then let's set off for our destination. Sima Yue smiled and said, since you don't want to accept the olive branch from other forces, then don't show up for the next few days. Go back and cultivate in seclusion. When they returned to the inn they were staying at, they told the innkeeper that everyone was going into seclusion, and that they would not meet anyone who came to look for them. The shopkeeper didn't understand what was going on, but he soon understood. A large group of people came to see Sima Yue and the others. Everyone, my apologies. Those guests have said that they will be in seclusion for 10 days. During this time, they won't be seeing any guests. The shopkeeper said. You're not meeting anyone? Sima Yuyang asked. Yes. They said that if you need anything, you can come and find them in 10 days. The shopkeeper continued. Haha, Sima Yuyang, I heard that those people were originally your friends. It's a pity that they were offended by someone from your clan who didn't recognize their worth. It's too late to try and pull them into your clan now. Ha ha ha. Sima Yuyang looked at those people and didn't say anything, but his expression wasn't too good. Hua Ziyan, who had come along, glanced at the room upstairs, his eyes flashing. He didn't expect that these people would actually go into seclusion as soon as they came back. They must have expected that someone would come looking for them. What did they mean by doing this? Did they want to see which forces were suitable for them? Some people who didn't know what was going on saw that so many forces were looking for them, but they were avoiding them. Could it be that they had some kind of background? You don't know this, do you? I just heard from the outside that among the 5 people, there are 2 alchemists, 1 refiner, 1 beast tamer, and 1 unknown person who has the most precious blue card of the Xianyuan Pavilion. That blue card doesn't even have a first-rate power. What? The people in the inn were stunned when they heard this. What kind of status did these people have? Could it be that they were from some kind of powerful force? Also, I heard that those people are not even 20 years old, but they have great attainments. They will definitely become great people in the future. These kind of people are called country bumpkins by others, saying that they have no money to buy things. In the end, they took a few thousand pills and hundreds of spirit tools to sell. This is a slap in the face. How can an alchemist, refiner, and beast tamer be poor? What a joke. Don't laugh even if it's funny, because the ones who got slapped in the face are the Sima family and the Hua family. Be careful that they don't hear you and you get slapped in the face. Sima Yu and the others didn't really go into seclusion. They stayed upstairs to observe what was happening below. So many people came. Fatty Chu pursed his lips. Let the shopkeeper go and make a big deal. Wei Ziqi said. They didn't speak much now. They were constantly being questioned, but they were too lazy to deal with it. Everyone is guessing what kind of strong background we have. Wait until 10 days later, and we let them know that we came from Dongchen Kingdom. I wonder what kind of expression they will have. Their mouths will definitely be big enough to stuff a fist in, Little Two said with a smile. I wonder if this will have any effect on saving your grandfather and the others? Bei Gongtang was a little worried. Sima Yu thought for a while and said, it should have a good effect. You guys come with me. A few alchemists, refiners and beast tamers won't dare to be punished immediately. Then we'll wait for 10 days before coming out again. Let's all go into seclusion now. Ouyang Fei stood up and took the lead to leave. Everyone left Sima Yu's room. She sat cross-legged and began to use these 10 days to stabilize her cultivation. In these 10 days, Sima Yu and the others didn't take a single step downstairs. Many influential people were waiting for them downstairs, but they didn't see a single person. On the night before the 3-year deadline, Chongming came back and was injured. Sima Yu saw Chongming and said, You're injured. It's okay. Chongming said. My soul is injured, so it takes a long time to recover. Sima Yu said as she took out a small bottle of soul fluid saying, With your strength, you should be able to take 2 drops. Although Chongming didn't know what it was, he could feel that it was extraordinary. He didn't act arrogantly and took the jade bottle, and thanked her. There's no need. I just want to have a guarantee for tomorrow's matter. Sima Yu said. Chongming took the soul fluid back to his room and took 2 drops. After that he began to heal his injured soul. Sima Yu didn't ask him where he went or how he got injured. For someone like him to return injured, those things weren't something she could touch on right now. That night, she didn't enter into a state of cultivation. Instead, she stood by the window for the whole night, her gaze fixed on the courtyard of the Sima family. The next morning, Wei Ziqi and the others came out. After Sima Yu came out, they didn't go straight to the Sima family. Instead, they sent Little Tu to Xianyuan Pavilion. If it's possible, please protect him for now. I will definitely repay you in the future, Sima Yu said to the manager. Xianyuan Pavilion guessed that Sima Yu was going to do something dangerous. However, they still agreed. Although they didn't know how she got the blue card, they were happy to have her owe them a favor. Someone was right. To them, a person with a blue card was more important than any other power. Sima Yu and the others left Xianyuan Pavilion and went straight to the Sima family. Sima family, I Sima Yu have come. Chapter 225. Knowing that Sima Yu and the others had come out of their seclusion, many forces came to establish a relationship with them. Sima Yu looked at these people. She wondered if they would still behave like this when they saw her and the Sima family. Where are they going? Someone saw them walking straight ahead and guessed that they had something to do. This direction seems to lead to the Sima family, someone said. Are they planning to join the Sima family? It can't be. Didn't they say that the Sima family offended them? That's why their identities were exposed. Are they going to settle the score with the Sima family? Hard to say. At this moment, in a remote courtyard of the Sima family, Sima Yuze and Sima Yui led a group of servants in. When they saw the people in the courtyard, they said, "You traitors, what are you still waiting for? Do you really think that a mere spirit master can cross the Sophia mountain range to save you?" Sima Lai opened his eyes and glanced at him before closing them again, ignoring him. Sima Yuqi saw that the few of them were indifferent and didn't look like prisoners at all. He stepped forward and kicked Sima Yuqi to the ground. "You traitors! After today, I'll see what reason that old bastard has to protect you." Sima Yuqi got up from the ground and looked at Sima Yui saying, "If there is a tomorrow, I will definitely take your life." "Haha, I don't think you'll be able to see tomorrow's sun. Why don't I send you to hell right now to meet your parents? Beat him up." "Yes, young master." The manservants swarmed forward, punching and kicking Sima Yulu and the others. The latter's strength had been sealed, and they were no match for them at all. All of them were beaten black and blue. Sima family was in another hospital. Sima Lin, Sima Qing and a few others were sitting together. Someone asked, "Big brother, I really don't understand. Why did you make this 3-year promise with a little spirit master? You wasted 3 years for nothing." "That's right. It's not like you don't know how dangerous the Sophia mountain range is. Even if that person's talent is outstanding, it's impossible for him to have the strength to cross it. Only spirit emperors can break through that barrier. I don't think she'll be able to come today." Everyone did not believe that Sima Yue would come today, as they all shook their heads, thinking that Sima Lin was only letting Sima Lai and the rest live for another 3 years in vain. "I believe she will come." Sima Qing couldn't help but recall the unyielding figure from 3 years ago. He said, "That child, she will come. If you don't come, we'll have to punish Sima Lai and the others." Sima Ke said. Although his strength was not high, he was qualified to sit here because of his seniority. Sima Lin sat there calmly and did not tell them whether Sima Yue was coming or not. He picked up the teacup and took a sip. Looking at the tea leaves in the teacup, he wondered if he believed that she would come. Suddenly, he looked outside, and there was a faint smile in his eyes. "Sima family, 3 years have passed, and I, Sima Yue, have come to fulfill the appointment." With a loud shout, half of the Sima family was heard. Even the people in the secluded courtyard could hear it. Sima Yuming and the others had already been beaten to a pulp. They were all lying on the ground, and did not even have the strength to get up. Sima Yuze left after getting the servants to beat them up. Hearing Sima Yoyue's voice, a few of them started to cry. It really is Yu's voice. Sima Yuming said excitedly. Fifth bro really came. Sima Yuqi looked towards the main door saying, Sophia mountain range is so dangerous, how did she come here? The barrier can only be broken by spirit emperors and above. She's already a spirit emperor? Will we be able to see her? Sima Lai did not speak the entire time, only looking towards the main door. Sima Yue stood outside the main door of the Sima family and shouted loudly, giving everyone who followed her a shock. Sima Yue? Why does this name sound a little familiar? I think so too. I think I've heard it somewhere before. But is there such a person in the Sima family? 3-year appointment. I remember now, 3 years ago, the Sima family caught a group of people who had escaped from the land of exile, but did not punish them immediately. Instead, they locked them up in a courtyard. I heard that they made a 3-year appointment with a junior. That person seems to be called Sima Yue. What? Everyone was shocked. Then you're saying that she came out from the land of exile? Heavens, the land of exile is on the other side of the Sophia family. How did these people come out? I wonder what kind of appointment she made with them. We'll know when we continue watching. I initially thought that they were here to seek refuge with the Sima family, but I didn't think that they were here to fulfill the appointment. A group of people came out from the Sima family, and were shocked when they saw Sima Yue and the others. When Sima Yuyang and Sima Yuqing heard what Sima Yue said, they were shocked at first before rushing over. After that, Sima Yulin and the Hua siblings who were staying here came out as well. You're Sima Yue? Sima Yuqing looked at Sima Yue in disbelief. Her own friend was actually the one who had made the appointment with their family. Sima Yue glanced at Sima Yuqing and did not deny it, continuing to shout, Sima Lin, I've come to fulfill the appointment. Where are you? Impudent. Is granduncle's name something you can call? Someone shouted. Sima Yue smiled, saying, If names are not meant to be called, are they meant to be eaten? If so, why don't you try one for me to see? Haha. When they heard what she said, the people around them all laughed. No matter. Since you're here, come in. Sima Lin's voice came from inside. It's better for you to come out. Do you think I'll be able to come out safely if I enter the Sima family? Sima Yue said. Everyone was in an uproar. This Sima Lin has already been a spirit paragon for 2 years, but he can't even get a junior to come out. This Sima family will be like a sheep entering a tiger's den if you enter. You might not be able to come out. It's better to stay outside. It's safer. Sima Yue, a junior, actually dares to speak like this. The Sima family said unhappily. I didn't even make an appointment with you. What are you shouting for? Sima Yue said. You're looking for death. That person had lost face and was about to attack. Stop. Sima Yulin shouted at that person, then looked at Sima Yue saying, What do you want? I'm here to fulfill the appointment, not to provoke. Sima Yue said. I've brought the thing. I want to see my family. Thing? What thing? Aside from a few people, nobody knew what Sima Yue had that would allow her to make a deal with a first-ranked power. Sima Yue took out a golden snake fruit, and its fragrance filled the air. Golden snake fruit. A voice called out, telling everyone where this fruit came from. Chapter 226. It's the Alchemist Guild's vice president. Everyone recognized the person who spoke just now and said in surprise, Why is he here? A few days ago, 2 young 4th-grade alchemists appeared. Presumably, the Alchemist Guild would also be interested. Someone guessed. Sima Yue turned around and saw a skinny and capable old man standing out from the crowd, staring straight at the golden snake fruit in her hand. President Ma. When the members of the Sima family saw Ma Li, they all bowed respectfully. Ma Li ignored them and went to Sima Yue and said, Can I take a look at this golden snake fruit? Sima Yue shook her head and said, Grandpa, not now. I want to use this to make a deal with the Sima family. What deal? Ma Li asked. 3 years ago, I made an agreement with Sima Lin. He would protect my grandfather and the others for 3 years, and I would find the golden snake fruit for them. Now I have already brought the golden snake fruit as promised. I am waiting for them to let me see my grandfather and brother. Sima Yue said, Grandpa, if you want to see it, wait until I see if my grandpa and the others are safe. Your grandfather is Sima Lai? Molly asked. Sima Yue nodded. Then why don't you go in? Sima Yue looked at the Sima family's door and said, I'm just a little spirit master. If I go in, I'm afraid I'll die before I see my grandfather. How dare you? Someone from the Sima family roared. Our family has always been open and above board. How dare you slander us? It's not that I'm slandering you, but you don't have enough trust in me. Sima Yue said. Are you going to let me see my grandfather and the others or not? If you don't, I will destroy this golden snake fruit. As she spoke, she pinched the golden snake fruit tightly. As long as she used her strength, the golden snake fruit would be destroyed. You don't. Sima Yu Yang and Sima Yu Qing cried out at the same time, their hearts in their throats. Hey young man, don't be so impulsive. Molly waved his hand and almost came up to pry her hand away. Do you know how precious this thing is? Perhaps this is the only one in the entire world. Don't be rash, don't be rash. Sima Yu looked at Sima Yulin saying, Don't you have the highest position now? I want to see my grandfather and the others. They can't come out now. Sima Yulin said. Without the clan leader's orders, they can't leave the courtyard. Then let Sima Lin say it. Sima Yue said. He promised me that he would protect my grandfather and the rest. Come in. I'll guarantee your life. Sima Qing's voice rang out. Sima Yue was still hesitating. Since we've encountered such a situation, why don't I accompany you in? I can guarantee your safety. Molly squinted his eyes and said, But you have to promise me that you'll let me take a look at this fruit. SSS. With the protection of the vice president of the Alchemist Guild, there will definitely be no danger. That's right. Even if the Sima family is a first-class force, they still have to listen to Molly. Otherwise, all the alchemists in the world will cut off all contact with them. I wonder if she will go in. I think so. Sima Yue was actually not worried about her own safety. Chongming's injuries had already healed. Unless the Sima family had a few godly figures, nobody would be able to stop her if she wanted to leave. Wei Ziqi and the others had been quietly standing by her side, waiting for her to make a decision. Let's go in. Sima Yue sighed. When the time comes, I'll have to ask Grandpa to help me. Okay, as long as you let me see the golden snake fruit. Molly rubbed his hands and said. Please. Sima Yulin gestured for her to enter. Sima Yue lifted her feet and walked in. She knew that they would not deal with this at the entrance. After all, this might involve things that they did not know. She was only doing this to create momentum outside. Chongming followed beside Sima Yue. When he passed by the Hua siblings, he glanced at them lightly, causing them to feel as if they had fallen into an ice cellar. What a strong feeling. Hua Zijiao said blankly after they entered. Hua Ziyin felt a chill run down his spine. That gaze felt as if it could pierce through them. That person, who is it? Sima Yue followed Sima Yulin to the main hall. Sima Lin, Sima Qing, and the others were waiting inside. She glanced around. Those who were able to sit here were not weak. It seemed that they were not young either. Granduncles, Sima Yue is here. Sima Yulin bowed respectfully to the people in the house. You are Sima Yue? Are you the one who shouted for my big brother to come out? An old man glanced at Sima Yue. The pressure of a spirit saint pressed down on her. Sima Yue stood where she was and did not move at all. She said lightly, Your pressure is useless against me. You should save it. After that, she looked at Sima Lin saying, I've brought the thing. I want to see my grandpa and the others to confirm whether they are still alive. Sima Lin looked at the current Sima Yue, and his heart was filled with shock. He never thought that the little spirit master from back then would have grown to this extent. Even Sima Yulin, who was hailed as the #1 genius, had not improved so much. Bring them here, Sima Lin said. Yes, clan leader. While they were waiting, Sima Lin looked at Ma Li, who was pacing around Sima Yue saying, Molly, why did you run here instead of guarding your pill furnace in the Alchemy Guild? I'm here to watch a good show, Molly said without thinking. After that, he quickly denied it, saying, I heard that those perverts had come out, so I came to see what kind of people they were. I didn't think that I would run into something like this. I promised to protect him, and he promised to show me the golden snake fruit. Since this is the case, sit down and wait. Sima Lin said. No need. Molly waved his hands decisively. He wanted to stand beside Sima Yue, as if he would be able to smell the golden snake fruit this way. These must be the few little geniuses that have been spreading like wildfire recently, right? An elder from the Sima family said. Wei Ziqi and the others had yet to speak when Molly jumped up saying, What do you want to do? They are the ones that we chose first. Don't snatch them from us. Molly, what do they have to do with you? Have they entered your alchemy guild? Why are you making such a big fuss? That elder had a fiery temper as well, and started to argue with Molly. I'm not going to argue with you today. Molly's thoughts were all on the golden snake fruit, and he did not even bother with his old rival. The courtyard that Sima Lai and the others lived in was very far from the main courtyard. Just as Sima Yue was about to lose her patience, she finally heard some movement. Quickly go in. The voice of the guard was heard, and she could not wait to turn around. However, when she saw Sima Lai and the others, her excitement immediately turned into anger, and her entire body emitted a terrifying aura. Chapter 227. Grandpa, big brother, how did you become like this? Who beat you up like this? Sima Yue ran over and looked at them angrily and sadly. Sima Lai and the other 5 all had extremely serious injuries on their bodies. Because their spirit chi had been sealed, they couldn't even heal themselves. Sima Yue couldn't even walk and needed 2 guards to support him. When Sima Lai and the others saw Sima Yue, they were extremely emotional, and their eyes were wet. Yue, you're here. Sima Lai said as he caressed Sima Yue's face. Grandfather, I'm here. Sima Yue held Sima Lai's hand and said, I'm here to save you. After saying that, she turned around to look at Sima Lin and said, This is what you meant by protecting my grandfather and the others? If I came 2 days later, I'm afraid I would only see a few cold corpses. Sima Lin never thought that Sima Lai and the others would be like this. He turned his gaze to Sima Yulin and asked, Who did it? Yu Yi and Yu Zhe go to the abandoned courtyard from time to time. Sima Yulin replied. Grandpa, eat these pills first. Sima Yue took out a few pills for them to eat. Level 5 Vitality Recovery Pill. Molly, who was standing at the side, knew what kind of pill it was the moment he smelled it. His eyes lit up as he looked at Sima Yue. Those 2 alchemists were said to be 4th grade alchemists. Could it be that she was a 5th grade alchemist? Thinking about how the Xianyuan Pavilion had given her a blue card, this was not impossible. Sima Yue gave the pills to Sima Lin and the rest. Seeing that they were unable to circulate their spirit chi to heal their injuries, she grabbed their hands to check and raised her head in shock. No spiritual energy? Where is your spiritual energy? It's just that their spiritual energy has been sealed, they haven't been crippled. Sima Qing explained as he felt that Sima Yue was about to flip out. Grandfather? Sima Yue looked at Sima Lai in disbelief. Don't worry, it's just a seal, Sima Lai said. Sima Yue, we have already agreed to protect the lives of your grandfather and the others for 3 years. Shouldn't you fulfill your promise and give us the golden snake fruit? The old man who had previously exerted pressure on Sima Yue said. Release the seal, Sima Yue said. Sima Lin shook his head and said, This won't do. Why? I've already brought the things over. Sima Yue looked at Sima Lin. We still haven't investigated the truth of what happened that year. Right now, we still can't confirm whether or not they are traitors to the clan. Sima Lin said. You haven't been able to find out after so many years. How are you going to find out now? Sima Yue said. Are you saying that if you can't find out the truth in a year, You won't return my grandfather's freedom for a year? If you can't find out the truth in 100 years, you won't return their freedom for 100 years. What happened that year has already happened 100 years ago. How could it be that easy to find out the truth? Sima Lin did not bother about Sima Yu's attitude and said, back then, third grandfather had the raging inferno / Lai's father was not qualified to cultivate it. However, the spirit technique ended up in his hands. He said that it was given to him by third grandfather. However, when we went over, we only saw third grandfather's corpse. There are no witnesses? Sima Yue asked. There is one. Sima Lin said, one of our little uncles was also injured at that time. We paid a huge price to save him. However, his soul was injured. When he woke up, he was always in a daze. He was completely unable to speak of what happened that year. Your golden snake fruit was used to treat him? Sima Yue thought back to her own guess. Indeed, someone's soul was injured. That's right. With the golden snake fruit, if little uncle can wake up, we can find out the truth of what happened that year. Sima Lin said. Then you should quickly treat him and prove my grandfather's innocence. Sima Yue said. If there was a direct witness from that year, then this matter would be much easier to handle. Her soul was injured. To someone like her who possessed the spirit pagoda, it was not incurable. We will need a few days. Sima Lin said. We are still lacking an item. It will be available at the auction in a few days. What item? Earth Dragon Marrow. She knew about the Earth Dragon Marrow. It was the essence of the Earth Dragon Stone that was formed between heaven and earth. It would take a few hundred years to form a single drop. This item was indeed useful for the soul. However, it could not be compared to the spirit fluid formed by the spirit pagoda. Can you let me see that, senior? Maybe I can treat him, she requested. What kind of status do you have? Do you think my little uncle is someone you can meet just because you want to? Sima Ku knew about what happened that year. Naturally, he would not allow them to treat that old fellow. If not for the fact that that person had been in a daze all these years, they would have killed him long ago. Little brat, are you a doctor or an alchemist? Molly asked. Both. That vitality recovery pill was refined by you. Molly's eyes lit up. Sima Yue replied. Damn, I was just guessing. It was really refined by you? Such a young fifth-tier alchemist. TSK, are you interested in joining our alchemist guild? Let's talk about it in the future. Sima Yue said. Alright. Let's talk about it after you have settled the matters here. Molly nodded. Such a young fifth-tier alchemist. Evildoer. Everyone's gaze towards Sima Yue changed. They did not expect her to be a fifth-tier alchemist. Yes, I heard that you have the blue card of the Xianyuan Pavilion. So that's how it is. Sima Lin said. However, we have looked for many doctors. They all said that the Earth Dragon Marrow is not enough. Sima Yue did not want to say that she had the spirit fluid on her. She decided to take a step back and said, we can wait a few days. However, you have to release my grandfather and the rest. At the very least, you have to release their seals. You also have to punish the person who harmed them. This, impudent. You still want to ask for so much from us. It's already not bad that we have left them alive. Don't ask for so much. Sima Yi, the elder who had used his aura to suppress her, shouted. So you're saying that you're not willing? Sima Yue said. Sima Yuze and the rest are direct descendants of the four branches. Sima Qing said. I don't care whether they are direct descendants or not. Since they harmed my grandfather and the rest, they have to pay the price. Sima Yue stood beside Sima Lai and the rest. Seeing the new and old wounds on their bodies, it was obvious that they had been beaten up badly in the past 3 years. Fifth bro, that Sima Yuze said that he would kill us today. Sima Yue had eaten a pill and had recovered a little. He could stand on his own. Sima Yue looked at Sima Lin saying, I'll ask you again. Will you punish the person who harmed my grandfather and the rest? That's impossible. Sima Ku shouted. Then don't blame me. Thousand resonance, kill him. Sima Yue said coldly. A white shadow flashed in front of everyone's eyes. Following that, a scream was heard from outside, followed by a commotion. Yuze has been killed. The people outside shouted. You killed my grandson. I'll kill you. Sima Ke never thought that Sima Yue would kill him just like that. He slammed the table and released a spirit saint attack. Cat pounce. Chapter 228. After not seeing him for 3 years, Sima Ke had actually advanced to Spirit Emperor. Be careful. The Sima family members were far away from Sima Yue and could not stop him in time. Ma Li's strength was not as strong as Sima Yi's and could not take this move. Fifth bro. Sima Yuming and the others saw this attack and were so scared that their hearts were about to jump out. Sima Lai was standing beside Sima Yue, and his first reaction when he saw the attack was to pull Sima Yue into his embrace and turn around to face the attack. A white light flashed in from the outside and arrived in front of them. With a slap of its claws, it easily resolved the crisis. Divine Beast of the 5th level. Everyone saw Thousand Resonance's level and cried out in surprise. Sima Ke looked at Thousand Resonance. He had just broken through to Spirit Emperor. Compared to Thousand Resonance, the difference was too great. No wonder he's so fearless. It turns out that he has something to rely on. Sima Yi looked at Sima Lai and Sima Yue fiercely. But even so, it won't be able to save your life today. Don't even think about taking a step out of the Sima family after killing them. Sima Yue came out from Sima Lai's embrace and shielded him behind her. She was not afraid of Sima Yi. I just said that I wanted you to punish them, but you were the ones who were unwilling. Since that's the case, I can only do it myself. What right do you have to decide their life and death? Someone rebuked. Sima Yue snorted coldly. My grandpa and the others have more injuries than today, right? Since they dared to harm my family, they should be prepared to die. Second brother, don't talk to her anymore. She killed Yuze. You have to take revenge for him. Sima Ke's eyes were bloodshot as he glared at Sima Yue. Don't worry, how can anyone casually kill the people of our 4 bloodlines? Sima Yi said. You're just a spirit beast, we have more than one spirit paragon here. In order to support his words, the person who had just accused Sima Yue also released the pressure of a spiritual venerable. Seeing this, Sima Yue and the other brothers were anxious for Sima Yue and wanted her to leave quickly. Yue, let Thousand Resonance take you and them away. That's right. Their spiritual beasts are either spiritual emperors or spiritual venerables. You should leave first. What's the use of having so many spiritual paragons? Sima Yue was not in a hurry and said, I have a friend who can handle it. Shameless boasting. Sima Yi berated. Am I wrong? Sima Yue looked at them and said, originally, I could have come here directly to take them away. I spent so much time just to see what kind of character you have and whether or not you're worthy of my grandfather, and the others acknowledging your ancestors. But you guys are really too disappointing. Hearing her say that, even Sima Lin and Sima Qing's faces turned ugly. I'll take my grandfather and the others away now. Let's see who can stop me. Sima Yue shot a look at Fatty Chu and the others. They all came beside Sima Yuran and the others, each supporting one of them as they walked out. Men, take them down. Sima Yi ordered. Sima Yue and the others supported Sima Lai and the others into the courtyard. Many spirit overlords and spiritual paragons descended from the sky and surrounded the courtyard. Sima Yi and the others also flew out from the hall. Sima Ke looked at Sima Lai viciously, hating that he could not kill them immediately. Only then did Ma Li come back to his senses and run out. Seeing this scene, he shouted at Sima Yi, Sima Yi, I said that I will ensure that this brat leaves the Sima residence safely. Are you going to shed all pretense of cordiality with me? Sima Yue looked at Ma Li. She never thought that this old man would really protect her. If he didn't kill my descendants and didn't want to take the traitor away, I would naturally let him leave. But he killed Yuze and wants to take these people away. No matter what, I have to take his life today. Sima Yue looked at Sima Yi. Hearing what he said, she laughed coldly. Chongming, I want his life. Her casual words caused everyone's heart to tighten. Ha ha ha! Sima Yi laughed loudly, saying, just based on you want to take my life? This is the funniest joke I've ever heard. Sima Yue ignored him and pointed at Sima Kuo, saying, and this person? She wanted to kill him 3 years ago. She never thought that in these 3 years, he would not be able to kill her grandfather, so he would get his own grandson to bring people to beat them up every few days. That's all. Chongming asked. Sima Yue turned her head to look at Sima Yuming and the others, saying, brothers, who do you want to kill? Sima Yuran looked at Sima Yue. Her eyes were filled with uncontrollable rage as she smiled and said, just these two. As for the rest, we will take revenge ourselves. Okay. Sima Yue nodded. She liked to take revenge herself, so she could understand Sima Yuran's feelings. Chongming, I want to bring grandfather and the others back to heal. Kill them and I'll give you a golden snake fruit. Chongming raised his eyebrows. How did she know that he wanted a golden snake fruit? You still have a golden snake fruit? When he heard what she said, Ma Li's eyes shone, saying, why don't I help you kill them and you'll give me a golden snake fruit? The Sima family was speechless at Ma Li's actions. Did he really want to fall out with the Sima family? Ma Li, the Alchemist Guild is not under your control. You want to be enemies with the Sima family? Have you thought it through? Sima Ku roared. At this moment, Chongming moved. He stood where he was and stretched out his hand. With a light tap, Sima Ku felt as if he had been imprisoned. Break. Chongming said softly. His magnetic voice was intoxicating, but the words that came out of his mouth were terrifying. When he finished speaking, Sima Ku did not even have time to scream before he turned into a bloody mist. Not even a trace of him was left. Everyone was so shocked by Chongming's move that they took 2 steps back. He killed a spirit saint with a light tap. This was too terrifying. Even if you advance from a spirit overlord to a spirit saint, your fate will be the same. Sima Yue said. Sima Yi looked at Chongming and a wave of fear rose from the bottom of his heart, saying, who are you? The aura of a sacred beast was emitted and the people and beasts in the air all fell down. Sacred beast. It's really. Other than Sima Yue and the rest, everyone else was suppressed by the sacred beast's aura. They all felt as if they were suffocating. Chongming stretched out his hand and Sima Yi flew into his hand. No, don't kill me. Sima Yi was scared. Even though he was already a spirit paragon, he was still a match for many sacred beasts. Have mercy. An old voice came from the back of the mountain. This aura, its 7th grandfather. Sima Lai raised his head and looked at the back of the mountain. Liar, you're back. That voice said. 7th grandfather, you're still alive. Sima Lai was too excited and his body was trembling. I'm still alive. The old ancestor of the Sima family said. If not for the sacred beast's aura waking me up, I would still be in closed-door cultivation. Please, Your Highness, please show mercy. Everyone's gaze turned towards Sima Yue. Even Chongming looked at her. Kill. Sima Yue said coldly without hesitation. Chapter 229. Everyone was shocked. Even if Sima Lai's grandfather pleaded for leniency, she still wouldn't let Sima Yi off. Yue. Sima Qing said, wanting to remind her to think carefully. He allowed his descendants to bully my grandfather and brother to this extent, and even wanted to kill us. Leaving such a person alive will be a great disaster. Sima Yue said, and what I can't tolerate the most is bullying my family. Whoever dares to bully them should be prepared to die. No, I was wrong. I won't dare to bully you guys in the future. Sima Lin shouted out, his face filled with regret. But Sima Yue could see a ruthless look in his eyes. If he didn't die today, he would definitely find an opportunity to kill them all in the future. Although you said you were wrong, you didn't hide the killing intent in your heart. Chongming, do it. Sima Yue ordered. Chongming glanced at her and exerted force in his hand, directly taking Sima Yi's life. You. When the Sima family saw that she had really killed Sima Yi, they were both shocked and furious. The old ancestor of the Sima family sighed and said, "You guys come over. His Excellency and the other young friends should come as well." "Chongming, withdraw your pressure," Sima Yue said. Chongming withdrew his pressure. Just like when he came, he gave off an unfathomable feeling. However, everyone knew that he was a sacred beast, so no one dared to probe his depths. Without the invisible pressure, everyone was able to straighten their bodies and breathe deeply. "Yulin, bring some men to clean up this place." Sima Lin instructed Sima Yulin before turning to Sima Lai, "Let's go." Sima Yue saw that Sima Lai was very excited after hearing the old ancestor's voice and knew that he would definitely want to see him. She supported him and asked while walking, "Grandfather, who is the one who spoke?" "That's my second grandpa, my grandfather's brother. He has always been very good to us. I was still young at that time, but I remember how he took care of us." Sima Lai recalled. "At that time one of us was captured. We tried our best to escape but were ambushed. It was second grandfather who saved us and let us go. In that case, he can be considered our benefactor," Sima Yue said. "Second grandpa has no children, and is on good terms with my grandpa. After my grandfather passed away, it was second grandpa who took care of us. If it weren't for him, our branch would have been long gone. We simply wouldn't have been able to wait for my father and uncle to grow up," Sima Lai said with a sigh. "Yue, how did you get out?" "Little Roar helped," Sima Yue replied. Along the way, Sima Lai and the others kept asking her questions. She briefly told them what happened after they left. When they heard that the Nalan family and other forces were trying to divide the Sima family, the grandfather and the grandchildren were furious. Sima Yue comforted them and told them how to resolve the crisis. However, she didn't mention that she had become a beast tamer master. Instead, she said that she had asked Wei Ziqi to help her find the Beast Tamer Master Guild. "It's been hard on you," Sima Lai said as he rubbed Sima Yue's head. Sima Yue shook her head and smiled. "That is our home. To be able to protect it is what I should do. In the past, it was always grandfather and brother who protected me. The only thing I can do is to protect our home." Seeing the smile on Sima Yue's face and hearing the warmth of her home, everyone was confused. Was the person who killed so decisively just now really her? Or was this obedient and gentle person her real? As they spoke, they arrived at the back of the mountain. Thinking about how many people of Spirit Saint level and above lived in such a large mountain range, it was obvious that they were a first-rate power. Sima Lin didn't say anything along the way. He only listened to Sima Yue talk about how they had spent the past 3 years, and sighed in his heart. It was no wonder that she had improved so quickly. So it was because she had been on the brink of death. He brought them to the middle of a mountain peak and a cave appeared in the vines. He took the lead and walked in with his head lowered. The people behind him walked in one after another. After passing through a short tunnel, they arrived at a stone room. An old man sat on a prayer mat on a stone bed. "Greetings to second grandfather." Sima Lai, Sima Lin and the others bowed to that person. Sima Yue and the others bowed as well. Only Chongming remained standing without moving. "Lai." The old man looked at Sima Lai and his calm eyes flashed with a trace of a smile. His face was filled with wrinkles. He was different from the other peak spirit paragons. He did not choose to stay young forever. "Second grandfather, I'm back." Sima Lai knelt down and bowed to the elder that he had respected so much. Sima Yuming and the others saw this and knelt down as well. Sima Yue stood there without moving. "Your bloodline is now only left with the few of you," the old man said. He raised his hand and a few rays of light entered their bodies. "Grandfather," Sima Yue cried out anxiously. "Don't worry, this is to remove the seal on them," the old ancestor said. Sima Lin also explained, "The seal on our Sima family can only be removed by us. That's why even if you take them away, you can't let them recover their cultivation. You should first refine the great medicine in your bodies," the old ancestor said. After that he said to Sima Lin, "Tell me what happened." "Sai, I'm getting old. I've been meditating for so many years." Sima Lin started from 3 years ago when he went to the Dongchen kingdom. Sima Lai and the others got used to the feeling of controlling the spiritual energy. After that, they used their spiritual energy to catalyze the recovery pill. Chongming had not said a word since he came in. At this moment, he was also standing there quietly. It wasn't that the old ancestor didn't want to bother with him. It was just that the moment he came in, he acted as if he didn't exist. It wasn't good for him to pull him aside and say anything. Sima Lin explained everything once. After that, the old ancestor said, "Even if they were wrong, you shouldn't kill them all. After all, they are still a family." "Don't. I'm only a family member of grandfather and my brothers. I'm not related to those people. If grandfather acknowledges his ancestors, then you all can be considered," Sima Yue said. "However, didn't you all want to punish grandfather and the others as traitors? That's why we shouldn't be a family anymore." That year's matter is indeed confusing. If you want to reconstruct what happened then, you need to cure the youngest, the old ancestor said. "I said I'll try, but they said no," Sima Yue said. "I even suspected that they wanted to harm him secretly, so that he wouldn't be able to clear his name for my grandfather and the others for the rest of his life." "You're mistaken," the old ancestor said. "Many years ago, we were searching for the golden snake fruit and earth dragon marrow. We didn't come here to make things difficult for you. Furthermore, most people wouldn't be able to harm little uncle," Sima Lin said. "Why? Although little uncle's mind isn't clear, his cultivation is still very high. It's just that he's mentally retarded. If someone wanted to harm him, he would definitely take that person's life," Sima Lin replied. "All right then." Sima Yue pursed her lips. "Since it's like this, then I'll go take a look at him. Who knows, I might be able to cure him." Chapter 230. Everyone was shocked. Even though Sima Lai and their grandfathers were pleading for mercy, she still wouldn't let Sima Yi off. "Yue," Sima Qing called out, wanting to remind her to think it over carefully. "He allowed his own descendant to bully my grandfather and brother to this extent, and even wanted to kill us. It will be a disaster if such a person is left alive," Sima Yue said. "Moreover, what I can't tolerate the most is bullying my family. Whoever bullies them should be prepared to die." No, I was wrong. I will never dare to bully you again," Sima Lin shouted, his face full of regret. However, Sima Yue could see the ruthlessness in his eyes. If he didn't die today, he would definitely find a chance to kill them all in the future. "Although you said you were wrong, you didn't hide the killing intent in your heart. Chongming, do it," Sima Yue ordered. Chongming glanced at her, exerted force in his hand, and took Sima Yi's life. "You." When the Sima family saw that she really killed Sima Yi, they were both shocked and furious. The old ancestor of the Sima family sighed, and said, "The few of you come over here. His Honor and the few young friends come over as well." "Chongming, retract your aura," Sima Yue said. Chongming retracted his aura, and just like when he came, he gave off an unfathomable feeling. However, everyone knew that he was a transcending divine beast, so no one dared to probe his depths. Without the invisible pressure, everyone could straighten their bodies and take a deep breath. "Yulin, take some people and clean up this place," Sima Lin instructed Sima Yulin, and then said to Sima Lai, "Let's go." Sima Yue saw that Sima Lai was very excited after hearing the old ancestor's voice, and knew that he would definitely want to see him. She supported him, and as they walked she asked, "Grandfather, who was the one who spoke?" "That's my second grandfather, my grandfather's older brother. He has always been very good to us. I was still young back then, but I still remember how he took care of us," Sima Lai recalled. "At that time, our branch was caught, and we struggled to escape, but we were ambushed. It was second grandfather who saved us, and let us go." "In that case he can be considered our benefactor," Sima Yue said. "Second grandfather had no children, and he had a good relationship with my grandfather. After my grandfather passed away, it was always second grandfather who took care of us. If it weren't for him, our branch would have been long gone. and we wouldn't have had the chance to wait for my father and uncle to grow up. Sima Lai seemed to feel something. Yue, how did you get out? With Roar's help, Sima Yue answered. Along the way, Sima Lai and the others kept asking her questions, and she briefly told them what happened after they left. When they heard that the Nalan family and other forces were trying to divide the Sima family, they were furious. Sima Yue comforted them, and then told them how to resolve the crisis, but she did not mention that she had become a beast tamer. Instead, she asked Wei Ziki to help her find the beast tamer union. It's been hard on you. Sima Lai touched Sima Yue's head and said. Sima Yue shook her head and said with a smile, "That's our home. It's my duty to protect it. In the past, it was you and Grandpa who protected me. The only thing I could do was to keep our home alive." Seeing the smile on Sima Yue's face, and hearing the warmth in her voice when she talked about home, everyone was confused. Was the person who killed so decisively just now really her? Or was this obedient and docile person her? As they spoke, they arrived at the back of the mountain. Thinking about how many people above the Spirit Emperor level lived in such a large mountain range, it was obvious that it was a first-rate force. Along the way, Sima Lin did not speak. He only listened to Sima Yue talk about how they had been living in the past 3 years. He sighed in his heart. No wonder she had improved so quickly. It turned out that she had trained on the edge of death. He led them to the mountainside of a mountain peak, and a cave appeared among the vines. He lowered his head and walked in first. The people behind him walked in one after another. After passing through a short passageway, they arrived at a stone room. An old man was sitting on a cattail hassock on a stone bed. "Greetings, second grandpa." Sima Lai, Sima Lin, and the others bowed to the old man together. Sima Yue and the others also bowed to the old man. Only Chongming stood still. "Liar." The old man looked at Sima Lai, and a hint of a smile flashed across his emotionless eyes. His face was full of wrinkles. He was different from ordinary people at the peak of the spiritual venerable level. He did not choose to stay young forever. "Second grandpa, I'm back." Sima Lai knelt down and bowed to the old man he had respected and loved. Sima Yue and the others also knelt down. Sima Yue stood still. "You are the only ones left in your bloodline," the old man said. He raised his hand, and several rays of light entered into their bodies. "Grandpa!" Sima Yue shouted nervously. "Don't worry. This is to remove the seal for them," the old man said. Sima Lin also explained. "Only we can remove the Sima family's seal. So even if you take them away, you can't let them resume their cultivation. You should first refine the medicine in your bodies," the old man said. Then he said to Sima Lin, "Tell me what happened." "Alas, I'm getting old. I've been meditating for several years." Sima Lin started from his trip to Dongchen country 3 years ago. Sima Lai and the rest had to get used to the feeling of controlling spirit qi again. Then they used their spirit qi to catalyze the vitality recovery pill. Chongming had not said a word since he came in. At this moment he stood quietly. It was not that the old man did not want to talk to him. It was just that the moment he came in he acted as if he did not exist. It was not good for him to talk to him. Sima Lin told the old man everything. When he finished, the old man said, "Even if they are wrong, it is not necessary to kill them all. After all, they are still a family." "Don't. I'm just a family member of Grandpa and my brothers. I'm not like those people. If Grandpa returns to the family, then you guys are family," Sima Yue said. "But didn't you want to deal with Grandpa and the rest as traitors? So, we are probably not a family anymore." What happened back then was indeed confusing. If we want to restore what happened back then, we need to cure the youngest, the old man said. "I said I would try, but they said no," Sima Yue said. "I even suspect that they want to harm him secretly, so that they can't clear my grandpa's name for the rest of their lives." "You misunderstand," the old man said. "We have been looking for the golden snake fruit and the earth dragon marrow for many years. We did not come here to make things difficult for you. Moreover, ordinary people can't hurt little uncle," Sima Lin said. "Why? Although little uncle is delirious, His cultivation is very high. It's just that he is stupid. If someone wants to harm him, he will definitely kill them. Sima Lin replied. All right. Sima Yue curled her lips. In that case, I will go and see him. Maybe I can cure him. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.